Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. President Trump still wants a middle-class tax cut. That from the U.S. Treasury chief before they unveil a tax plan Wednesday. Fox Radio's John Decker is live at the White House.
The rollout of President Trump's tax overhaul set for Wednesday is likely to be an outline of what the president wants to get done rather than a firm plan. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin.
On the personal side, we're about a middle-income tax cut and simplification. On the business side, we're about making them competitive.
The president would like to lower the corporate tax rate from 35% to 15%. Still unclear is whether the plan would add to the federal debt or be revenue neutral. Conservatives are likely to oppose a tax cut plan that is not fully paid for. Lisa?
Meantime, John, Congress facing its latest deadline for a spending bill to avoid a government shutdown. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern live on the Hill.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says a demand for border wall money was a monkey wrench thrown into negotiations on a funding measure to keep government open beyond Friday night.
The border wall, we believe, is a pointless waste of taxpayer money.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says the president has made his view clear.
Money for our military and our border security and wall have been part of that request, and that is something that those are the president's priorities.
Administration officials have not said whether the president would veto a spending bill that does not include border wall funding. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. The French presidential race getting Wall Street's attention. The Dow up 216 points at the closing bell. Former President Barack Obama says money in U.S. politics lets special interests dominate debate in Washington.
In ways that don't match up with what the broad majority of Americans feel.
But in his first public appearance since leaving office, he says he still believes there's more uniting Americans than dividing us. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Today, there are over 47 million Ford vehicles on the road, rolling on over 188 million tires. That's a lot of rubber to trust to anyone other than the hardworking specialist at Ford Service. No one knows your Ford better than Ford and Ford Service.
Get a $70 rebate by mail on 4 select tires, plus another $70 rebate when you use the Ford Service credit card. Subject to credit approval, rebate by prepaid debit card. Other tire manufacturer rebate or offer cannot be combined with Ford Service credit card rebate or offer. See your participating Ford dealer for details through 6/30/17.
Over 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring, and independent research shows that 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. By creating the easiest, most effective hiring experience, we help businesses find great new people every day. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Defense Chief James Mattis wrapping up an unannounced visit to Afghanistan, where he was asked about reports of Russia arming the Taliban.
We are going to have to confront Russia where what they're doing is contrary to international law or denying the sovereignty of other countries.
Mattis says any funneling of weapons to Afghanistan from a foreign country would violate international law. Holocaust Remembrance Day being marked by President Trump signing a proclamation honoring the victims of the Nazi persecution and their liberators. And he says the U.S. stands shoulder to shoulder with survivors, their families, and the descendants of those who were murdered, and that the United States is committed to respecting the inherent dignity of every human being. A history-making day in space, winning some presidential recognition.
It was a long-distance call of congratulations from the Oval Office.
Do you hear me?
And apparently the connection was just fine.
Yes, sir. We have you loud and clear.
President Trump recognized Peggy Whitson, commander of the International Space Station, for spending 534 days and counting in space, a U.S. record. Whitson says she shares it with the NASA staff.
Who make this spaceflight possible and who make me setting this record feasible.
There was even brief talk of NASA work to get to Mars, which the president said he'd like to see during his time in office. Whitson will remain in space until September, by then logging more than 600 days in orbit. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Amazon, already experimenting with deliveries by drone, is now reportedly taking a closer look at using driverless vehicles for deliveries. The Wall Street Journal reporting Amazon formed a team described as an in-house think tank more than a year ago to consider how much of an impact autonomous vehicles could have. Many details remain unknown, though, like how a package gets from the vehicle to the doorstep. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast from the National Weather Service, brought to you by Chief Bauer.
Mike,
yeah,
kids can drive you nuts sometimes.
Yeah, you see, I can't really speak to that.
Yeah, I've got a good story coming up on failed parenthood.
Oh, well,
yep,
I don't know about
that's
failed parenthood.
No, it's failed.
It's not easy, you know? Trust the heating and cooling experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to help keep you comfortable all year long. That's 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. Tonight getting down to 52. Tomorrow another perfect day. 79 and sunny. Low of 59. And Wednesday looks really good too. 80, mostly sunny with a low of 56. Maybe rain late on Wednesday evening into Thursday. The one cool day of the week. Right now it is 77 and sunny. ESPN Radio.
The Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Latte, Mike Carpenter, Jeremy Warner, on his way to sunny Florida, heading down to Fort Myers to see his mom.
Everyone I know is in Florida.
Really, right now?
Jeremy is in Florida.
Yep.
Him, Tiff, and Torin.
Torin's first plane ride.
Yes, and then yesterday, my sister, brother-in-law, and their two little nieces went to Disney World.
Did they really?
They're in Disney. They met Mickey and Goofy.
Oh, cool.
And Minnie today, so they're pretty
Full
excited.
disclosure. Did they enjoy it?
It's only day 2. They're going to be there all week. They love it. At least the older niece does, because she knows the character. She can react to it.
The year that my father passed away, 2006, Mom thought it'd be a good idea, which is a super gesture. She took my brother and I and Gene, we all went down to Disneyland, or Disney World, excuse me, whatever. Is Disneyland in California,
yes,
right? Okay,
right.
So we went to Disney World, but we went between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and somebody told us that is the worst time.
Packed.
Now, you know me, I've never been in a fight in my life, ever. Mm-hmm. Never been in a fight. It was so crowded, and people were so rude. I looked at my brother at one point, I said, if one more person hits me accidentally, I'm just going to jack him. Yeah. I'm just going to knock him down, because it got to be, and it wasn't hot. You know me, I love heat, but it was just everything combined. So you know what happened? We got the biggest break of the year. You know they have that parade like at 6 o'clock at night. They do a parade.
On New Year's Eve or just in general?
I think in general.
I think every night they do it at Magic Kingdom.
They do.
Yeah, that's it.
So when the parade happens, everybody goes to watch the parade. Well, it had started raining a little bit right after that. So not only is everybody at the parade, everybody like bailed from the rides, and the boys and I just started doing the rides just
that's
over.
The best.
We could literally just get off, run around, and get back on, which I looked at the guy, I'm like, come on, dude, there's nobody in line.
They have something where each day a different park opens early. So when I went in third grade, Rock and Roller Coaster had just opened up at MGM Studios.
Nice.
So you had Rock and Roller Coaster right next to Tower of Terror.
Sweet.
And we get to the park at 7 a.m. or whatever, and it was a rainy day.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
perfect.
People stayed away for at least a few hours. We did Tower of Terror, I think, 3 times in a row.
That is awesome.
Rock and Roller Coaster 3 times in a row by 8:30.
Good for you.
Yeah,
that's
that was
the
great.
Aerosmith coaster, right?
Great ride. There was the first upside-down coaster I did.
Yes. Did you do the, what's the one, Space Mountain? Where
Space
it's dark?
Mountain's great. You got Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Yes.
You got Splash Mountain. Not a roller coaster, but that's a fun ride.
That is
so
fun.
I'm jealous because they're sending back these pictures. They're staying at the Port Orleans Resort.
Nice.
I want to get back there.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know when that's going to be, but I love Disney. So.
We had fun. We took one day, we did the wild safari thing one day, and then we took one day and we went and ate at, what's the ball? Is that the...
Oh, Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, that's it, or whatever. We went and ate German. We're all good
Oh,
Germans.
yeah, you can go around the world, right?
Epcot, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we basically just settled on Germany and just started drinking.
As fun as a trip as it may be, I know that my brother-in-law was happy to get back to the resort last night and have a beer or 3.
That's the thing.
To decompress. Because you have to.
You have to. We stayed there on the resort. They've got like a dolphin and a swan or something, and we were in one of them. And
wow, those were nice ones.
They are really nice.
Okay.
Mom just kind of said, she did. She said, you know what? I want the kids to... I think it was just Lucas, actually. Andrew wasn't born yet. So It was one of those where she's like, I just want to go. I don't want to worry about money. I just want to go have some fun. And we did. So every night we just head to the hot tub and just sit there at night. And I told my brother, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that again tomorrow. I do not want to do that. And he's like, think of your son. Think of your son. I'm like, all right, think of my son.
Hey, you didn't come here to listen to Disney stories,
they
probably.
did not.
If you did, that's great.
Yeah.
This
you
is
never
a
know
big
what
week.
you're going to get, especially with you and I.
Because oftentimes it's usually when you're gone.
Correct.
Something big happens.
Is that because I'm gone like a collective 4 months of the year from the show?
For now, I'm going to chalk it up to mere coincidence.
Okay, let's go coincidence.
I won't go as far as that. But
no irony, though.
You know, this is... I don't even know what irony is anymore. It's really difficult to define. But this is, of course, Mark Smith week. Let's just call it what it is. And we know for sure now, it is official, that Wednesday will be the announcement, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time on KSDK. That is Frank Cusimano, the network that he works for.
Right.
And we're going to kind of look into streaming, how they're all working that, and stick with you a little bit longer on Wednesday night so you can hear that live.
Can we text Frank real quick and see if he knows?
Austin's on it.
Okay, Austin's already on it to figure out what the rub is.
And speaking of those who know, we are going to have Derek Piper at 3:30.
Okay.
I don't know what he does or does not know, but he's always in touch and in tune with what's going on. And then, of course, at, let's see here, 4:25, we'll talk some Cardinals and Blues, I believe, with Chris Raby.
I
out
feel
of
bad,
KMOX.
and we'll get back to Mark Smith in a second. I feel bad about this. I texted Chris Raby yesterday. I texted him last night, and my text read, apologies for texting you on a Sunday night. Is there any chance you could join us tomorrow to talk Blues and Cardinals? And I never hear from him. And I'm like,
you ticked him off.
So it's 6:15 a.m. I get a text, and it's Chris Raby. Sure thing. I'm like,
all right.
All right. I said, well,
we're still cool with Chris Raby.
We're still good. I think he's not too upset
And we
with us.
will lead into Chris Raby on Wednesday night.
Yes.
I think that's the plan. The announcement should be right around 6, if not a couple minutes after. And that gives us, because the Cardinals pregame, until about 6:25.
Awesome.
So we're still working out details for that broadcast. It may just be me because you have kids playing sports. If Mark Smith didn't announce Illinois, could you imagine?
No, because I told you. In fact, I think Wednesday is a 12:45 Cardinals game.
It is 7:15. I just checked.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of these days, maybe it's Thursday. It seemed like there's an afternoon game. Doesn't matter. That won't affect that. So Andrew's got a game tonight. He's got a game Wednesday.
And that is Thursday, you're thinking.
Okay, Thursday. So I thought, you texted me moments ago on the way up to radio, and you're like, hey, can you stick around? And I'm like, and here's my thinking to this. I don't mind sticking around to do this job. I feel like it's part of my duty to be here with you and help deliver the news about Mark Smith, because this is a huge signing, whether he signs with Illinois or Michigan State or Duke or Kentucky.
Or Ohio State, let us not forget.
State, that's right, who we just visited. However, it is one of those situations where I told you, I said, first of all, I can't stand missing my son's games, any kind of game. But I said, if I stay here for that thing and Mark Smith announces that he's going to Michigan State, then I'm going to hate the kid. Like, I normally do not hate these kids if they commit to go somewhere else. I'm disappointed. I don't hate them. They're 18 years old. But that night I would hate him, because I'd be like, you know what? You're making me miss my son's baseball game, and you're going to be.
But think about this.
Go play for Tom Izzo.
This tells you a little bit about how crazy.
Oh, it's weird.
Collegiate sports are, and it's all based on recruiting.
It is.
Derek Piper, for instance, will be driving down to Edwardsville. He has to cover it. I'm sure he won't be the only one. I'm sure Scott Ritchie from the News Gazette will head down there. Some of our local TV guys will pop down to Edwardsville as well. So these are real live people whose schedule, whose week are being affected by this announcement. Now, not that that's necessarily a problem.
No.
I think the timing of it, I think the airing of it on KSDK,
right,
where Frank Cusimano works, and it had seemed last week at least that, well, if it's going to be on that network,
you wonder, right?
It's going to be Illinois or Missouri? Well, there's nothing about Missouri. Maybe Kentucky. No. If it were Michigan State, let's put it that way.
It's not going to be SLU, is it?
I don't think so. Let's hope not. But with that in mind, I can't help but feel positive about this.
Okay.
And I understand.
I was going to ask you how you feel.
Yeah, I understand why people, though, would look at this and see, the likes and retweets that Mark Smith has in his profile, all Illinois related.
Right.
And they can't help but think about Sean Livingston and wearing the Brian Cook jersey. Now,
you've got to take me back here, because Jeremy actually retweeted something or replied, whatever you kids do, and said, is it all about the tweets? Now, I didn't understand really what that meant. I went ahead and liked it, but I had no idea what that meant. Now, is Mark Smith actually sending out a bunch of Illinois vibe?
So here's what you can do on Twitter.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is borderline creepy, but it's the world we live in, so there you go.
I don't think I follow Mark Smith. I don't think.
I do. So I'll follow the players and the big recruits they're going
until they
after.
decide, right?
Right. So if you go to anyone's Twitter profile, you can check out tweets and replies, media, and likes.
Okay.
Those are the 4 tabs.
Got
and
it.
if you go to likes, you see what they've had there. So, for instance, You go down his likes, and 95% of them are Illinois related.
Oh, really?
Now,
Okay.
40 minutes ago, there was one Michigan State, then followed 5 minutes later by one from Illini Nation. It's at 6 p.m. Wednesday. Let's start a dynasty with Mark Smith, Trent Frazier, and DeMonte Williams all tagged.
Okay.
Now, it's crazy to think that we would actually take this into consideration.
Right, because what? Sean, let's go back through the the annals of history. Annals would be
we'll work on the podcast.
would be the right term on that one.
Harry, could you mark 3:15 p.m. as
dang this English language.
No. That's a tough word.
That is.
I purposefully washed my mind of that word, knowing that if I tried to say it on the air, it would come out potentially wrong.
Yes.
The annals of...
Forgive me, kids. Forgive me for those of you that just got scooped up from school and are on their way home.
No.
So when you go back through the history, how about that? It's a better one. Sean Livingston, he wore an Illinois shirt, right? The day before
the
he
Brian
committed.
Cook jersey.
He wore the Brian Cook jersey.
Potentially the same one that Brad Underwood's kid wore. Who knows?
Wasn't there someone else? Did John Shire do something to do with Illinois and then pick Duke?
I don't know about John Shire. That was just a weird thing because his coach was Bruce Weber's brother. Right. And he still couldn't get him despite having come off the greatest season in Illinois history.
Well, then, of course, Cliff Alexander starts to pick up the Illini hat, and then he decides to put it down and pick up Kansas.
We're gun shy.
Yes, we are.
We are tired of finishing second. We are tired of finishing second in dramatic fashion.
Right.
When you especially look at basketball and see the impact that individual players can make.
Yes.
Mark Smith is one of those.
He is. He totally is.
And the benefit of it is that he's not one of those necessarily that's a 2-year and done kind of guy.
Right.
I don't know if he's got the measurables needed to get to the pros early, but that's certainly a consideration down the road. And knowing how important it is to get someone that's not just a good player.
Right.
I think it's the intangible things that Mark Smith has that really is alluring if you're looking at a single guy that can be the face of when the program changed.
You know what this is? This is Jordan Goodwin. This is a twin of Jordan Goodwin, and that's why I wanted Jordan Goodwin so bad. And when he decided to go to SLU, it's a head shaker with Travis Ford. But it's one of those situations where you felt like he could be a culture change. He could kind of come in and help change the culture in your program. He's a big guard. He can play defense. He can get to the rim. He can shoot, albeit he has to improve his shooting a little bit. But Mark Smith can get to the rim, and we don't have many guards that can do that and haven't had for a while. So he does everything that we don't have. And you realize that, and you look at that, and you think to yourself, man, that's exactly the player Illinois hasn't had, and that's exactly the player you watch in March in the NCAA tournament with teams that advance. They have those kind of players that get you to the next level and get you to the next weekend, and that's what Mark Smith represents, and that's what Jordan Goodwin represented. So when Goodwin said no to Illinois and went to SLU, I thought, man, that's tough. Now, we could still get Tillman. We got Frazier. We've got Pickett. We've got DeMonte Williams. Of course, Pickett and Tillman have now changed, but I still sat there, even with those four, and thought, you know what, though? You still don't have that one guy that could kind of fit that role. Mm-hmm. And then here comes Mark Smith out of nowhere. This is like a fantasy.
This is Marcus Lovett times 10.
It really is. I mean, it's just, here's a kid that wasn't even looked at. I mean, his biggest offer was from, Northern Iowa?
Wright State.
Or Wright State. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he decides not to play baseball at Missouri. He decides to take basketball serious. And the next thing you know, he's a top 60 kid in the country.
Right.
He's in your backyard, down south, even more important than in Chicago. And you've got a shot at getting this kid, and here he is. He's this good. And that's why Kentucky came and sniffed around. That's why Tom Izzo went down and ate at the Dairy Queen. I mean, that's why Missouri's all over him. That's why everybody wants a piece of Mark Smith. And I think it's one of those where you let go. Well, you didn't let go, but you lost Jordan Goodwin. All of a sudden, another Jordan Goodwin type player falls in your lap, and you've got a chance to get him.
And with the way that the last 3 weeks have shaken out since Jeremiah Tillman asked for his release, and then that Saturday, Javon Pickett did the same thing, which didn't hurt by itself that much, but it felt like salt on the wound.
It was just piling on almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a perfect way to put it. So with Mark Smith, the fact that you were in this thing and you were lingering the entire time, that it felt like it was going Michigan State's way, but then you were able to get some momentum back.
Right.
And now that we sit here 48 hours away, essentially, from an announcement that, not to get overly dramatic about it, but if you, first off, from a media standpoint, for all the hits that you took post-Tillman, post-Pickett, and the perception of Illinois, now it might be a rebuilding job.
Yes.
It's not with Mark Smith.
No.
You have a very interesting roster with him, and that's including the deficiencies that you have down low.
No doubt.
The fact you don't have a true center right now.
Nope.
But I tell you what, it becomes an easier sell job for those potential centers, fifth-year grad transfers, or whoever they may be, when you include a Mark Smith in this recruiting class.
Without a doubt.
So give me the guards.
Yes.
With Trent Frazier, DeMonte Williams, and Mark Smith, I'm still chalking this up as a great class. And especially after the Tillman, whatever you want to call it, debacle might be too strong of a word, but this nullifies any of the bad blood or bad taste in your mouth you may have had about that. This is the key recruit, not Jeremiah Tillman. Mark Smith, all year long, was the key guy.
Without a doubt.
And best of all, is that we can now see the stories being written about not just Mark Smith, the kid that had the Wright State offer. I'm personally kind of excited about the idea that Mark Smith, also offered by Kentucky,
absolutely,
Duke,
Michigan
State. Now,
Kansas,
all of a sudden, that is not just a recruiting win on the court. That is a recruiting win as far as perception goes for Brad Underwood.
Country-wise, I agree. And Brad Underwood, if he's able, let's in case you just turned your radio on 2 minutes ago.
A big if.
If Illinois is able to land him, then that would be huge. And again, the announcement is going to come, the press conference, 6 o'clock our time, Central Time, on Wednesday evening. Mark Smith will announce where he is going to attend college. I have told Jeremy all along, this has kind of been my storyline all along. I have felt, Carp, and this is why I honestly don't feel either way about this. I don't feel good about it, and I'm not panicked about it. But all along, I have thought that the Smith family, including Mark and his mom and dad, of course, have given Illinois every chance in the world to win this thing. And I appreciate the patience that they've had with this basketball program when you consider what has happened to this program since January, with the losses, with missing the NCAA tournament, with firing John Gross, with hiring Brad Underwood, with Jeremiah Tillman and Javon Pickett both bolting. I mean, you've got a 5-star guy, center, bolting the program, which for a lot of recruits might think, what's going on there? Well, there's been all this turmoil, all this turnover, and yet that Smith family the entire time has kept you in the running for this thing. And to me, it tells me, this is only me thinking, only Lante's thought, and sometimes we know how weird that can be, is that they really wanted Illinois, or want Illinois to win this thing, but they were going to give everybody else a shot to see if there's anybody else that would impress them more. And why wouldn't you give Kentucky a shot? Why wouldn't you give Tom Izzo a shot? The Ohio State thing is goofy to me, even though that program, according to Joe Hendrickson, he tweeted out Saturday that program had seen Mark Smith play more than any other program.
Right.
Now, John Gross, obviously, and his staff had seen him play multiple times, but they're not here anymore. So Ohio State did its due diligence as opposed to all these other guys recruiting him. But yet they're just kind of the wild card, and it feels like Evan Turner to me, but it better not be. But really, the entire time, Carp, I feel like the Smith family has given Illinois a chance to win this thing, and I'm hoping Wednesday it's proof that they've got it.
I felt like Illinois was the default option the entire time.
Good call. That's exactly what I tried to say within
you kept
3
going.
minutes.
Yeah, you keep going back to it. I mean, I remember when my sister was looking of what colleges to go to, and we took a trip to University of Minnesota, pretty cool. We took a trip to Madison, super cool.
Absolutely.
And then we took a trip to Evanston. You know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It is. It's a nice campus.
It is. It's pretty.
Not my cup of tea, but that's fine.
A lot of cash.
But, the default option was here.
Yes.
And whatever sort of thought she had of, I'd really like to get away from home. She had a little bit of that, and there were certain things maybe pushing her, go somewhere.
Right.
And then ultimately she decided on this for a variety of reasons, but not the least of which is that it is a good school.
Absolutely.
So let's take it from a basketball lens. You have a kid down in Edwardsville, 2.5 hours away or so.
Right.
And the other options, Michigan State, it speaks for itself.
No doubt.
That's an 8-hour trip, 9-hour trip.
It's a long travel. East Lansing isn't close.
Kentucky comes in late. Maybe that's a fit thing. Yeah. I think it's more of a fit thing. And Ohio State, certainly they've done their thing as well. But when it all comes down to it, when you look at the best fit on the court, in the classroom, if we want to go the academic route, that's not usually a thing for me in recruiting. But
nor I.
Whatever, I went to the U of I. It's a nice school.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty good.
Oh, it's one of the best in the country. But most of these kids are coming here to play
sports. It just seems like the fit.
Yes,
and that's why I've had this quiet kind of confidence about this whole process with Mark Smith. This to me does not feel anywhere near like Jeremiah Tillman. The fact that there's going to be an announcement on Wednesday at 6 and that they're actually going to have a prepared... Listen, this is what recruits do.
Yeah, exactly.
You only get to do this once.
This is normal.
And be a rock star for these 4 years that you can be the big man on campus.
Absolutely.
If I would have been offered the same opportunity, I'm calling WCIA 3.
Right.
And we're having a press conference at Urbana High School and we're getting it done. I might even have hats. I may even have hats on the table.
Yeah.
But what would I have chosen?
You would have chosen the U of I.
Seemed like the best fit, the one close to home.
You would have been sliding into the living room in your underwear saying, looks like the University of Illinois for me, Mr. Tom Cruise. All right, if you want to follow us, if you want to get in touch with us, 2 different ways, same number. We make it easy. You can call us on the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line or text the Chief Bauer text line. That's at 217-359-2255. You can also search us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet at Lonte ESPN. See you.
And I tweet at Fanboy Carp. Of course, Jeremy, Jay Warner Scout, and then Derek Piper's also one you may want to.
At D Piper Scout.
And we'll be talking with him after the break. You can also stream us, the WSJK app, get the podcast at ESPNCU.com or on iTunes, powered by GTPS Insurance. Harry Black and Austin Birkeland are in with us today. I think it's just the two of them, right? Just
and Andrew Tay.
Andrew Tay,
yeah,
of course, helping out
30
as always.
minutes. Yeah.
And we'll shoot some Nerf hoop here in about a second. So again, Derek Piper, 3:30, Chris Raby at 4:25. We may replay the Piper interview in the 5 o'clock hour for those that may miss it initially, but this is the unofficial Mark Smith week, and the question is, of course, after Wednesday night at 6:20, can we have a celebratory Thursday show, or will it be the postmortem?
Are you and I going to bring a keg in Thursday and celebrate the Mark Smith
You know what would
signing?
be great? I would love for Wednesday night, as people get home and they keep the stream on or they stay in their car for that extra few minutes.
Yes.
That right when the good news, if it comes through, that we just hear, just like Roger and Danville, just heard around the county.
Just a collective beer opening.
A collective beer opening.
Across Central Illinois.
We just designate 6:05 p.m. Wednesday night for the collective Mark Smith celebration beer opening.
I think you're on to something here, Carp. I love it. All right, stick around. Watch us on YouTube if you want. Andrew's going to be coming in shooting some hoop. We'll be doing all that next. Again, Derek Piper next, and Chris Raby. We'll talk Blues, and we'll talk Cardinals at 4:25. We'll replay the Derek Piper interview later if you didn't get a chance to hear it. Annals.
You got it.
Annals. It is the Tay and J Show.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go. Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Hey home buyers, this is Stephanie Pratt, Coldwell Banker Honigdale, your realtor that rocks the real estate market. I've got the ultimate real estate app, the one you need, the one you have to have when you're buying a home in this area. Go to my website, StephaniePrattHomes.com on your mobile device and download the Home Buyers app. This totally sets you up. It even allows me to communicate with you super easy on your listing. Go to StephaniePrattHomes.com and download that app today. And don't forget, pre-approval is your buying power. It's a one-stop shop when you choose Stephanie Pratt & Associates, Coldwell Banker Honigdale, your realtor that rocks the real estate market.
Not available in all states.
Hey, you two. What brings you to the mall?
We're just here checking on our robot.
Your robot?
Yeah, our recent Irvy's Froyo robot. Diane and I became franchisees last month.
It serves premier frozen yogurt creations to customers in 60 seconds.
Yep, our customers absolutely love it. That's it over there.
Whoa, that's incredible. People really do love your Froyo robot. So, you own this?
Sure do. Reese and Irvy's Froyo robots are available across the country, and it's super easy. Reese and Irvy's provided us with everything we needed. They even help you secure amazing locations. Movie theaters, grocery stores, college campuses, theme parks. They make any location a sensation.
And everyone loves frozen yogurt. That's incredible. How do I get a Froyo robot of my own?
You just go to froyofranchising.com and enter promo code 4747. But hurry, because locations and robots are going fast.
Froyo.
Yeah, froyofranchising.com. Promo code 4747.
Reese and Irvy's is a subsidiary of Generation Next Franchise Brands, a public company, VEND.
Hey, it's me, your old AC. We need to talk, man. I am out of hair. Trust me. It's not going to get much better. I need to be replaced. Call the experts and get a new air conditioner that will save up to 50% on energy bills. Go ahead. Do it. I'll be right here. Whew.
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, save up to $4,000 on a new home comfort system. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. For expert service guaranteed.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
That is not what I wanted to play. What is this? Is this the
game day intro?
It is game day. Hey, speaking of game day, this fall. No, I'm not even going to go to promote all that.
Hard to get in football mode.
Oh, come on.
Wait, what highlight is this?
I faded it.
Okay.
That's my bad. All right. Mistake number 1 for Lon. Austin is ready to roll, and here we go.
Hello, I'm Austin Berkman with your 3:30 Sports Center update brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote and get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care through April. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Let's start out with some Illini news. The time is finally here, folks. Illinois will finally find out if they have landed a commitment from Mr. Basketball of Illinois, Mark Smith, when he announces his college decision at 6 p.m. at Edwardsville High School. This news is broken by frequent guest of the show, Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com. He recently just had visits with Michigan State, Illinois, and Ohio State. Keeping with Illini news, the softball team were rocking an 8-game win streak going into the weekend series against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. After winning the first 2 games 1-0 and 5-3 respectively, the 10-game win streak came to a crashing end, losing 14-0 on Sunday. Their next game is Friday against Wisconsin at Eichelberger Field. On to the baseball team, they dropped all 3 to the Purdue Boilermakers. They only scored 4 runs in the 3-game series. They traveled to Peoria to take on the Bradley Braves on Tuesday. We stay on the diamond as all 3 local teams had weekend series. The defending World Series champion Cubs played the Reds this weekend and won 2 out of the 3. Jason Hayward hit 2 homers on the weekend, and Anthony Rizzo hit 3 of his own. They are still on the road as they play the Marteles Pirates tonight to begin a 3-game series.
Why you got to lead with the Cubs? Why do you have to lead with the Cubs?
Because they're the defending world champions and first place in the division.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Just letting you know.
All right, good points.
The Cardinals had a 4-game series against the Brewer Crew up in Wisconsin, and they won their last 3 games of the series. And the White Sox, they went 1-3 against the defending AL champ Cleveland Indians. Bulls lost the last 2 games to the Celtics, making the series tied 2 games apiece.
Okay.
And the Saints and Adrian Peterson are negotiating a contract. That's according to ESPN's Field the Eights.
This sounds like a Decadence riff.
Close. I wish.
It does kind of sound like your band.
Yeah, that's a very high compliment. It's Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
good rock band.
I think that.
Good rock band. Great rock band.
So let me play this. I'm going to try to do something.
Yeah. See, I listen to this. This is old stuff of ours.
I know, but this is you.
Yeah, it's old.
And then this is...
Oh, okay.
Are you stealing music?
No.
Whoa, should I not be doing this?
Listen, the only riff I stole in that last one was Whole Lotta Love by Zeppelin. Okay,
okay. I got it. Hey, I was going to tell you, though, who's ready for Garth Brooks? I'm going Sunday night. ESPN Radio, we are Tay and J. We've got tickets that you can win Wednesday afternoon between 3 and 6. Just listen in, and you may be going for free, thanks to ESPN 93.5 and the Tay and J Show. And, Carp, I think you and I just came up with an idea on how to give away these tickets on Wednesday. Are we going to have our listeners call in, and you will have a chance to sing a cappella a verse of Garth Brooks?
Yeah, verse or a chorus. You pick the song.
I'm sorry, a chorus, yes.
Or should we pick the song?
Maybe we pick the song.
Or maybe, you know what, I say to keep it fresh, we have people pick a song. One might do Baton Rouge, one might do, cool. Thunder Rolls, another might do B-double-E-double-R-U. I don't know if he does that song anymore or not. So. That was a duet with somebody.
That was good, though.
I think you call
Friends
in
low places.
You sing a chorus, and we'll take like 5 callers or something like that.
That would be cool.
Do that in the 4 o'clock hour, and then the 5 o'clock hour, we open up a poll and have people vote.
I think you and I just vote.
Okay.
I think maybe the crew, the interns, the executive producer, Austin Birkeland, we'll all vote.
I think democracy's overrated.
I agree.
So let's just keep it an oligarchy.
Yeah.
We decide who ultimately wins. And these aren't just like 200 level tickets.
Maybe call this person back, and they could sing a little bit more in the 5 o'clock hour.
I like that.
For the victory.
We will pick the winner of a pair of tickets. These are 100 level tickets.
Wow.
Really good seats for Garth Brooks. The Saturday night show at 7:30.
And if you accidentally are handed 4 tickets for Sunday night, 1 row from the top, that means I stole your ticket Saturday and went to the concert.
That's fine.
I won't do that. I can't. I'm in a play Saturday, so I can't do that. All right, it is time to head to the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line, and we're going to bring in our man from IlliniInquirer.com. He is Derek Piper.
Underwood. Underwood.
Gonna get some 4 and 5 stars.
Wednesday night.
Let's talk recruits now. A lot of hoops now. With Derek Piper.
Derek Piper, you just been sitting around doing nothing all day, or you being productive?
I'm just waiting for that Garth Brooks invite.
Yeah, baby. That would have been. Hey, we would have.
No, I don't really want to go.
You know what? I would have invited you, Derek. I'm sorry, I didn't even think about you.
I was going to invite you to Lil Wayne, but I didn't think you'd want to go.
I had backstage passes to meet Lil Wayne, but I think I had a game that night. Andrew had a game, so I skipped that.
Right.
I think I would enjoy a Lil Wayne concert. I really do.
I didn't go, but I think me and you had a good time.
Yeah, yes, we would. I guarantee you we would. All right, Derek Piper, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, Mark Smith is going to make an announcement of where he is attending college. Where's it going to be, Derek? Do you know?
Me?
Yeah, I thought maybe you had something on
kind of stuff, man. I don't know. I just follow it.
What do you think, though? This thing's finally going to come to an end Wednesday night at 6. I mean, Illinois, I feel like this entire time has had a legitimate chance of landing Mark Smith, and I still feel that right now.
Yeah, you should. He's kept them along, obviously through even some tough times where you thought that maybe Illinois was going to slip out of the mix. They make a coaching change. Jeremiah Tillman jumped ship. He had reasons then when Michigan State and Kentucky were coming around. Even Duke decided to come in with John Shire last week for an in-home. There's been some big-time competition, and we know how hard it's been for Illinois to land a Mr. Basketball. Tom Izzo and Michigan State wants him really, really bad. Kentucky's just kind of been there. I know that Dad likes that kind of NBA style, but I don't think there's really a great fit there. So he went to Ohio State over the weekend for his last official visit. I know paying some respect to them because Dad Mata, funny as it is really the only coach in this mix that got to see him play in a high school game.
Wow.
And I know that they liked that, D'Angelo Russell had been a point guard that was developed and went to the NBA and whatnot. But Illinois did a fantastic job on their unofficial visit last Thursday. Got him on campus. That was huge for them to, get to know even further the new coaches. Jamal Walker's done a great job, and it just feels like that's what he keeps drawing back to. That's home for him. He feels comfortable with them, and I think that they're definitely the favorite going into a decision.
Should we read into the timing of this announcement, or even the proximity and the TV station it's going to be on? I mean, it's Frank Cusimano's station, KSDK,
Sure.
that's going to be live broadcasting this event down in Edwardsville, and I'm thinking, well, how many Michigan State fans are in that area? It probably bodes well for Illinois, or I don't know. Am I just trying to find tea leaves where there are not tea leaves, Derek?
I think you're onto something there. I know that they've talked with Frank about being able to broadcast this, and obviously in the St. Louis area, which is a big deal down there, regardless of where he's going to go. I know with Frank knowing that he's got ties to Mizzou, maybe some people are going to be nervous that Jeremiah Tillman's going to show up and they're going to put on some Mizzou stuff. Sorry, guys, I'm messing around, but Mark is ready to make this decision, make this announcement. I know that his dad had maybe even thought about, well, why don't you go one more and go out to Duke and we'll experience that. But Mark said, no, I'm ready. I'm done. I know where I want to go. Now's the time. It's been hectic for him. It's been a very pressure-packed decision. Obviously, he's earned the right to have a lot of good options, and he does. So, but he feels good about where he's at right now, and now it's time to kind of enjoy the party, enjoy the process, and announce to everybody, and then celebrate this awesome decision for him.
Derek Piper, another reason we're having you on today, that Illinois Brad Underwood reached out to a couple of recruits up in Chicago. We'll get to that. It's funny that all of this talk about Mark Smith this entire time, it seems like when this first started, we broke down Mark Smith as a player and what he means to a team and what he would bring to Illinois. And then everything after that is just, oh boy, he's meeting with Michigan State. Illinois still got a shot. Break down again for our listeners kind of what Mark Smith is. Height, weight. I mean, he's a big guard that can shoot. I think he needs to get a little bit better from the outside. He's not Tay-like yet, but he can get to the rim. I'm glad you noticed that. He can get to the rim. Defensively, how is he? Break down his game a little bit just as a reminder as to kind of what Illinois is hoping to get on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's a future pro, I think. I think he's the complete package in terms of his versatility, his athleticism. 6'5". I don't know exact weight, maybe 215. I know that he's probably in the gym more than me, and I'm quite a bit older than him, so he's stronger than me. He can take it off the dribble. He can shoot from the outside. 24 points per game, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds as a senior. I'd say that's a pretty good senior year. He can do it all. Offensively, great vision, great IQ for the game, and very, very good at drawing contacts, finishing through contacts, and then he's got that bounce to be able to go up above the rim and throw it down. I know that us around here in Champaign, we love dunks. We'd like to see more dunks. So anybody that can bring that'd be great. I think he has a lot of potential on the defensive end. I know he'd even tell you that he's not where he wants to be. But athletically and ability to move around and then to be strong, I think that he has a lot of upside in terms of guarding the ball as he's developed in that area. So really a great fit in an up-tempo system with, Underwood wants to put shooters around the ball, which is perfect for Mark, who's going to take it off the dribble and be able to open things up on the outside. And if you're able to mix him in with Trent Frazier, that's a big-time upside in terms of a duo of guards.
There's some intangible qualities to Mark Smith's game, Derek, and not even just his game, but his personality, I think, where Illinois is at. The spot that they're in is a basketball program right now. They need a Pied Piper. They need a transfer, no pun intended, of course. They need a transformational figure of some kind.
I got that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
It was pretty bad, but and it seems to me that potentially that kind of personality, Mark Smith may actually possess that personality that wouldn't shy away from that kind of challenge, wouldn't mind having to shoulder the load as much as, not just on the court, but really being the face of the basketball program. Is that a fair description of his personality and things that he is not necessarily one to shy away from?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. He's a leader, really relishes the opportunity, and now, on the biggest stage here as a senior when he was in battles with Jordan Goodwin and Jeremiah Tillman, even kind of can embrace that, underdog role and know, this is my team and this is my state, and I'm ready to do some things. So he wants to be the guy, and that's kind of the big sell for Illinois against some of these other programs is we're going to make you the guy right away. There's going to be no argument about whose team this is, even when you walk in as a freshman. So, at Michigan State, you can go along for the ride and come off the bench for their Final Four team, or you can make this your own Final Four team. I think that's a guy that he wants that. He's not afraid of it, and he really wants to lead that and be the man. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to make things happen, and he wants to be the guy that started it all and get going again. So I think that he has those qualities, and obviously it's a great thing for Illinois that he does.
How does the coaching staff feel? I mean, no coaching staff, I think, would ever feel 100% secure, especially just the nature of recruiting and how fickle it can be. But 48 hours to go, they had the pitch out there. Is this a situation where they try to contact him one more time, or are they just going to kind of sit back and feel good about where they're at?
I think they're probably just going to sit back, maybe check in on how he's doing, what are you having for dinner tonight, or, just how are things going, what you watching on TV. Outside of that, they're probably just going to sit back. They've done all that they can do. They've laid it all out there. Like they feel very, very good about their cell, about how they've been able to hang on during some tough times, and just what they put on the table for Mark, and knowing his personality, as you mentioned, what he wants and what they've been able to put out there. So I think they kind of just sit back and wait on it, feel good about it, and just wait for Wednesday to come.
Follow Derek on Twitter at DPiperScout. If you're not, you're crazy. I mean, that's where it's all at. It feels like, Derek, that Illinois has done a great job with this. And I think even the previous staff needs a lot of credit. John Gross and that staff, Jamal Walker, of course, they did a great job of getting in the mix for Mark Smith, watching him. If Mark Smith chooses Illinois Wednesday night, what is the biggest reason? Why is it one of the biggest? What would be some of the biggest reasons why he decides to wear orange and blue?
Yeah, I think it goes right back to knowing, his ability. He's a ready-made college guard who can come in and physically he's built enough. He has the skills right now to be an impact guy right away. So when you're looking at these different options, and obviously you want to play at a certain level, the Big Ten being that, a big stage, with Illinois against an option like Michigan State, I think that their biggest thing is we can give you the ball right away. We can put you in the starting lineup right away. We can build our offense, build our resurgence around you. And so this really makes it your team. I think, additionally, staying close to home. He's a guy that's very, very close to his parents, giving them an opportunity to see as many games as possible, very close with mom and dad. So I think that helps them out. And then, he grew up watching Illinois. I think that helps them. And he knows about, Darren Williams and Dee Brown and what those guys meant around this state and what that program will be like when they're like that again, assuming that they will get back there. I think that he wants to embrace that. And if he does choose them, those will be the reasons why.
Well done.
Yeah. Let's just hope it gets done.
I agree.
I think this.
Well, it's going to get done. We just don't know if Illinois is the team.
For the good result for Illinois fans and the program, which is had a lot of some bad luck along the way.
I agree.
Some other action this weekend, though, Derek. 2018, Taylor Horton Tucker out of Chicago, Simeon. That old pipeline opening back up, hopefully for Illinois, and he's a 6'4", 200-pound shooting guard, small forward kind of guy. Talk a little bit about his game and what Underwood specifically sees in it.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I've been pushing for him for a while in that 2018 class up at Simeon. He's very smooth, like you said, 6'4", 6'5", kind of a big body. He's got some big body to him. And some people would look at that and think that he, can't move around very well or can't get up. It's actually just the opposite. He's deceptively quick, deceptively athletic. I was watching him 2 weekends ago playing with Io, and Io threw a lob up there. He caught it with one hand and threw it down. So I was pretty impressed. He can do a lot of different things. He's got a good outside stroke. And really it's been Chen Coleman who really saw him a lot. He offered him, I think he was the first guy to offer him at UIC. So when he came on the staff, he's like, we gotta get him. We gotta get him involved now. And Taylor's always wanted that Illinois offer. He got some attention maybe from Paris Parham, and John Gross watched him a little bit. Didn't like him enough to offer. But it didn't take very long for this staff to decide, we want you and we want you bad. So he's a very, very talented player. I like him a lot. I think he's a top 100 guy as soon as people give him the respect that he deserves.
Is it fair to say that the top three targets for 2018 would be Finke, Horton Tucker, and Dosunmu, at least in the eyes of this coaching staff, trying to lock down in-state talent?
I think so. I think that's a fair point. I know some people will wonder if you can take both THT and Finke, being that they're both wings. I know they do, and they're very skilled, more towards the offensive side than defensively. It'll depend on what they add the rest of the way in terms of filling out this 2017 class or with transfers, whether that be obviously fifth-year guys open up immediate spots in 2018. But if you get some multiple-year transfers, then that takes up those spots. So I think those top three, maybe you can only take two if you got to pick between THT and Finke, although I know they have time to evaluate that and prioritize that. But then Orlando Antigua will also chase some guys that aren't from this state on the national level. So, but those guys, no doubt about it, are going to be focal points of this 2018 class.
There's some 2019s, too. We'll ask you about that maybe in a few days. I get the feeling, Derek, we might just ask you on every single day.
Yeah, why not?
It's kind of a big week. But we'll give you a few days off in between, though. And before you go, we had a couple quick texts that I wanted to just get some answers from. Just your opinion on the first one from the 217. Who's the better player in your mind, Trent Frazier or Mark Smith?
That's a good question. They're both really good players. I'll give the slight edge to Mark. A lot of respect to Trent. Love his game. Love the fact that, he's a sharpshooter from the outside, end-to-end, really, really quick, great in this system as an up-tempo guy. I just think Mark has a higher ceiling. I think Mark being more physically built, more physically ready for this game, probably, it sways in his direction, taking the ball and finishing at the rim through contact. I think Trent needs to develop his physique a little bit, get better defensively. I think both players do. I just think Mark is better at this stage, and then maybe has a little bit of a higher ceiling, being more of an athlete when you think about the next level.
And then the other question here also from the 217, it's been quiet regarding Jeremiah Tillman, and there's been no real momentum behind Missouri, even though that was the initial thought that most people had. Does Mark Smith potentially committing to Illinois turn that story around in any way, or has that ship probably sailed?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that changes anything, because I don't think that players was really the reason why he decided to ask out of his release, or to get his release. I'm sorry. I don't think it was really about teammates or players or anything like that. I know that he likes Mark a lot and thinks Mark's a really good player. And while he was in that class, he definitely wanted Mark on board, and Mark the same way with JT. So, but it is interesting with Jeremiah, the fact that he's had his release for a couple of weeks and hasn't taken any visits anywhere. And Kansas has been filling up a couple of spots. They got the Lawson brothers. They might be getting Charlie Moore. He's had a lot of opportunity to go down and visit with Michael Porter Jr. in that situation. So it is kind of interesting. Not really sure what JT's thinking or what he's going to do. I don't think Illinois is going to beg him to come back, but if he does think, hey, maybe I made a mistake, or maybe I'd like to take a second look, I don't think they're going to turn him away. But I don't think Illinois is holding their breath right now, but I don't think it's completely done.
Well done, buddy. Derek Piper, IlliniInquirer.com. Follow him on Twitter, @DPiperScout. And, wink, wink, if you hear any news, just shoot me a text. I'll keep it between me, of course, and you. I'm kidding. You, Derek, thanks so much, buddy. We are going to talk to you again Wednesday, the day of the signing. So we appreciate Derek kind of taking time out of his week to do this twice. So we appreciate it, buddy.
No problem, guys.
Thanks. Derek Piper, good stuff. He's working it. Listen, it all seems like you want to get excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have, in the last 2 years, been burnt so many times, we as an Illinois professional, that it's hard to get overly excited about this. And quite honestly, at 46 years old, I try not to get excited about an 18-year-old kid recruiting anyway, but I do, because I realize it leads to wins, and I like to attend and watch Illinois games when they win. I enjoy that, right?
Get excited. I mean,
okay.
Hey, what's worst case if you get excited? All of a sudden he chooses Michigan State, and then you wake up on Thursday
and then he beats you for 4 years.
Well, true, yeah. But you wake up Thursday, and I think that there is genuine positive vibes behind this that you have not seen in some of the other recruitments. And there were always concerns about Tillman. The Goodwin thing got really weird a couple weeks before he announced for SLU.
It totally did.
This never took on that tenor.
Okay.
And I think that's telling, and I think that we've hit on those points, and we'll continue to do so in the next 3 episodes of the Tay and J Show.
Good call.
Yeah, I be excited because the positive ramifications of him committing to Illinois are huge.
Here's another reason to be excited, and Harry Black does not know this, but I am doing a hockey minute at the start of next hour.
Mm-hmm.
Harry asked me to do it. Jeremy's asked me for 3 years, and I never listened to Jeremy, unfortunately, but Harry asked, I've never heard one. I want to hear one, so I've got a hockey minute coming up next hour. Chris Raby at 4:25. We're going to ask him about the Cardinals, who all of a sudden have won, 5 of 6, I think, and they're getting ready to have a huge homestand down in St. Louis. We'll ask him about the Cardinals and also the Blues as they get ready to face the Predators in round 2. Your calls, your texts, 359-2255. It is the Tay and J Show.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans, and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Pekin Insurance and your local independent agent are committed to providing the best coverage options and the best service possible. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at PekinInsurance.com and on social media. Check them out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Pekin Insurance. It's a great way to learn more about insurance for your auto, home, life, or business. You'll stay up to date with important announcements. Plus, they'll throw in a few fun facts along the way. For beyond the expected information, follow Pekin Insurance on Facebook today.
Renew, energize, and donate. Join Keller Williams Realty of Champaign, the Real Estate Center of Illinois, for their annual Red Day, Thursday, May 11th, the company's annual day of service dedicated to renewing, energizing, and donating to their local communities. As part of the Red Day effort, Keller Williams Associates will spend the day with See You at Home, building new sheds, painting, light remodeling, and landscaping at multiple locations offered by See You at Home. For more information about Red Day, visit KWChampagneRedDay.com. That's KWChampagneRedDay.com. Go to KWChampagneRedDay.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 of the Tay and J Show. Latte, Mike Carpenter, Jeremy Warner on vacation. Went down to Florida. Took Torin. That's going to be fun.
Yep.
Torin is what, 8 months old?
Is that right?
I think he's 8 months old. And Jeremy was a little nervous about his first flight.
Sure, yeah.
And it is funny because we were talking about how, and Jeremy agreed, and I think assessed this properly, that if you are on a plane and you see parents walk in with a baby, you're not going to be upset about if the baby starts crying. I mean, we all understand this isn't. Now, if Andrew Tay at 10 years old is in there kicking people or making, then you're going to be like, dude, get control of your kid. But it is funny. And I said, I was full disclosure on my part. I looked at Jeremy and I'm like, I would be the guy that would help you out in any situation. I'd be like, yeah, you want me to hold him real quick? Which obviously they wouldn't. Unless you knew him. But I'd be like, hey, I'd be making faces. But I'm the one that when a baby walks onto a plane and I'm already in my seat, I'm like, do not sit by me. Please do not sit by me.
I mean, I know. It's not not that we're saying it's the baby's fault.
No.
But it can be loud.
It can be loud.
Yeah, no, trust me. I'm going to New York here in a few weeks. I'm hoping for a babyless flight if possible.
You're traveling a lot this year.
Yeah.
I have to ask you how it went playing with one of your idols. Did you actually get to play?
We didn't play together.
Okay.
But, Boyd Tinsley opened up for his new band. Boyd Tinsley, the violin player.
But the fact that he was there from Dave Matthews Band, and you've been to, 60 concerts?
60 shows. So we walk in for sound check at 7 o'clock. They were late with their sound check. So all of a sudden their band's up there, and Boyd comes walking down the accord with his violin case on his back and gives us a little finger gun like, hey,
Nice!
So they sound check a couple songs, and then they come off, and we're fiddling around this GoPro to take video of it. And do we have 10 seconds left?
Yeah.
I'll do this another time.
Let's do that. Yeah, that was
sorry.
my fault. No, I started off on that. In fact, I'm going to stop the music. Go ahead. Tell us the rest of the story.
Oh, well.
No. Yeah, go. I want to hear it.
So anyways, after sound check, they come down, and Boyd comes up to us. He's like, hi, I'm Boyd. It's like, well.
I knew that.
So a good friend of mine was in town. He was helping us load in, but he's been to most of those 60 Dave shows with me.
I think I know him.
Ben Yates.
I know.
Yeah, you probably met him. So anyways, we talk with Boyd for a good 5 minutes and just kind of talk about how every summer that's a thing for us and that it goes back for half of my life. I've been going to these shows. So he was appreciative of it. And then after the show, he was out until 1:30 on the street, taking pictures,
Was he really?
signing autographs with people. And outside of his tour bus.
How
so,
cool. How cool. How did you
dude.
guys do that night? Were you nervous knowing he was in attendance?
Not necessarily, but we brought it. And I think we played a shorter set, so the idea that he might be watching might have been a little extra fuel.
Okay.
Because, if the right person hears your stuff.
No, there's no doubt about that. And I think that's cool to be able to play in front of
Diane Ducey and Josh the Prize Guy came out.
Cool.
So that was very nice. And then it was a great crowd.
Nice.
Really good turnout.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. And Decadence, man. Where are you guys at next?
We're Cowboy Monkey Friday.
Okay, Friday. I need to get back out. You guys are doing well.
Playing 9 o'clock this Friday.
Chris Raby, next hour, talk Blues and Cardinals. We will talk some Bulls as well. It is the Tay and J Show.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons, 3 to 6, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Protecting your home and family, you better have a plan. Keep them safe from harm with a home alarm from F.E. Moran. Home invasions are on the rise all across the land, but they'll think twice when they see the sign for F.E. Moran. Don't wait till it's too late. It's
has a new idea. Free carpet installation that means free carpet installation. Clearing out furniture? Free. Ripping out old carpet? No charge. Hauling it away? On the house. No hidden fees, just free installation on carpet $699 or more. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Unique specialty items and requirements may be priced separately. Not valid in all markets. See HomeDepot.com for details. Offer ends June 7th.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. The White House not confirming any details about the president's tax reform plan.
There's a lot of things that are possible, but let's let the president, he made a commitment to get it out on Wednesday, so let's be patient.
White House spokesman Sean Spicer, amid reports the proposed corporate tax rate could go as low as 15%. Treasury Chief Steve Mnuchin says the president still wants a middle-class tax cut. He is expected to be part of a meeting with top congressional leaders tomorrow night. The administration also won't say if the president is prepared to risk a government shutdown this week for his border wall. Fox Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
Despite the president's insistence that any budget deal includes funding for a border wall with Mexico, something that Democrats strenuously oppose, White House spokesman Sean Spicer said he's pretty certain there will not be a government shutdown.
The work that Director Mulvaney and others have made in these negotiations has been very positive. They feel very confident that won't happen.
No agreement would result in a partial government shutdown on Saturday, which is also President Trump's 100th day in office. Lisa?
John, one of the two Arkansas inmates scheduled for a rare double execution tonight is making an emergency appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court for a stay. Attorneys for both have argued unsuccessfully so far that health issues raise the risk of lethal injection drugs not working properly. One of the men weighs 400 pounds. The other lost part of a leg to diabetes. Both are convicted rapists and murderers. Best day since March 1st on Wall Street. The Dow up 216, back over 20,700. A record close for the NASDAQ. The S&P also up more than 1%. The market's optimistic about the centrist candidate winning the French presidential race. You're on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
The people who design, engineer, and build Ford vehicles never rest, and neither do the specialists who service them. No one keeps those cars and trucks running or stopping better than them. After all, no one knows your Ford better than Ford and Ford Service.
Get a $25 rebate by mail on any Motorcraft brake service, plus another $25 when you use the Ford Service credit card. Subject to credit approval, taxes extra, rebate by prepaid debit card. Pads or shoes on most vehicles, one axle exclusions apply. See your participating Ford dealer for rebate details through 6/30/17.
5 times more hires are made through Indeed.com than any other job site, according to independent research. Imagine a lottery that had 5 times more winners, or a Sunday with 5 times more touchdowns. When you're hiring, it makes 5 times more sense to use Indeed. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Mixed results for the government in the first federal trial over the 2014 standoff at a Nevada ranch. Fox Radio's Jessica Rosenthal with this live.
Lisa, 6 men were on trial for their role in that armed standoff at Clive and Bundy's ranch outside of Las Vegas 3 years ago. And the judge declared a mistrial on the conspiracy charges filed against all of them. 2 of the men were found guilty of other charges, one for threatening and assaulting a federal officer, another for obstruction and extortion. Now, a new trial has been scheduled for late June. On the same day, Cliven's eldest sons will stand trial for their roles in this same standoff. Armed supporters had shown up to Bundy's ranch 3 years ago to defend against federal agents taking his cattle. He'd allowed them to graze on federal lands without paying. His 2 sons then led an armed takeover of a federal wildlife refuge in Oregon last year, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. A former Tennessee teacher charged with kidnapping a 15-year-old student is due before a judge in California at this hour. Federal court documents filed today suggest that 50-year-old Tad Cummins had planned to take the girl to Mexico and took a boat from San Diego on a test run, also detailing how Cummins kept them both on the run for nearly 6 weeks by switching license plates, disabling his vehicle's GPS system, using only back roads, and paying in cash. Autopsy results show Happy Days star Aaron Moran, who died over the weekend, was likely killed by complications from stage 4 cancer.
Harrison County Sheriff Department says toxicology results are pending, but no narcotics were discovered at Moran's Indiana home.
Fox's Michelle Polino. She's now spent more time in space than any American astronaut ever. Peggy Whitson, the current space station commander, getting a congratulatory phone call today from President Trump on her 534-day record.
I've been dealing with politicians so much. I'm so much more impressed with these people. You have no idea.
Whitson isn't scheduled to return to Earth until September. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
That term really does work with almost any.
It really does.
Any amount of music.
Schmack Dog, that is.
Schmack Dog.
ESPN Radio 3-Day Forecast. Brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the heating and cooling experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to help keep you comfortable all year long. 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. Tonight we're getting down to 52 degrees. Tomorrow looks beautiful. 79 and sunny with a low of 60 overnight.
Wow.
80 and sunny on Wednesday with a low of 56 overnight with thunderstorms and showers moving in pretty much all overnight.
Okay.
It's going to be cooler Thursday but warmer as we go through the weekend. Wet weekend. I know that's like an 8-day forecast, but
that's great, though.
I just like to keep people abreast of this information.
As long as it's good weather, you can continue on until July.
All right, sweet. 77 and sunny right now.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, Mike Carpenter, Jeremy Warner on vacation all week. So you got us. That's awesome, I guess. Why not? A little change of pace. Yeah. Listen, Chris Raby, KMOX down in St. Louis, is going to join us at 425, talk St. Louis Blues and St. Louis Cardinals, who have been on a little bit of a roll. I know the Chicago Cubs are in first place now, so everything's starting to come back to where it probably should be with regards to the Cubbies leading the division. I know I see you in there shaking your head, Austin, and agreeing with that. And also the Cardinals kind of working their way up that division, which they should be in.
And the Yankees with a better record than both of them.
And how about the Yankees? Yeah. I want to ask you about this Judge dude.
Oh.
Is he, 6'6" and like
Let me
250?
check what he actually is, because he's one of those guys that pretty soon he's going to be 7'3",
yeah. Can I say this?
Pounds.
You know I'm a big sports fan, right? I'm a big sports fan. I love baseball. I'll watch 162. I just said that wrong. 162. For you kids out there listening, when you say a number like that, you don't say and. So I will watch 162 games, and it's one of those situations where I watch basically whoever the Cardinals play. I don't tune in often to, let's say, a Yankees game or a Seattle Mariners game.
Yeah.
But a guy like that, and I can't even think of his first name.
Aaron Judge.
I'm glad the Cardinals played the Yankees this year, even though you swept us, because I got a chance to see him in person. And otherwise, all I would be hearing from people, and it's kind of like the Thames kid for the Brewers.
Yeah.
All I would be hearing from people is, man, Lon, what do you think of Aaron Judge? And I'd be like, I haven't seen him play. I have seen this guy now, and you think like Mark McGwire. You think Giancarlo Stanton. Mm-hmm. That's how big this dude is. He's big. They're both bigger than McGwire.
6'7".
Wow.
282 pounds.
282.
282.
And it is nothing but svelte.
It's muscle. Yeah. 25-year-old. Last year, so the concern with him, you're 6'7". The negative aspect of that is that your strike zone is huge.
It is huge.
So last year he had 95 plate appearances with 42 strikeouts.
Wow.
Almost every other at bat he struck out. So far this year, 67 plate appearances, 17 strikeouts. So we took that way down. OBP up from 263 to 343. Batting average up from 180 to 280.
Okay.
And already 6 home runs in the first 3 weeks of the season with 13 RBIs. I mean, if the All-Star game were today, he would be in it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Now, and the Yankees are off to a hot start. The Cubbies, I was going to bring on Austin Berkland real quick. The Cubbies, one of those situations, Austin, where you're kind of back in first now. And it's taken a little time, but I certainly, as Austin drops his headphones, but we're going to let him work on that for a second. But now that they're kind of back in first, and here we go, and they'll start rolling. And we've said all along, Jeremy and I both, let's don't worry about the Cubs. They're going to be fine when this season's done. They're going to win the Central Division. But
there are concerns, though.
Yeah, there are concerns, and it's the pitching staff. Austin, what would you? I mean, it's way too early. Way too early. But now that you guys understand how hard it is to win a World Series, I mean, it's not easy. You got to catch a couple breaks along the way. How worried are you with this pitching staff? And I've seen a couple of people, and I think we're going to try to get Mark on tomorrow. Mark Grody, right?
Yeah, that is confirmed. We have him on at 4:05 tomorrow.
Sweet. And he does the pre- and post game for the Cubbies. So that'll be awesome. 4:05 tomorrow, Cubs fans. But, how concerned are you as you go through a season? But it's not only that. It's when you get to that playoffs. And you've got Lester and Arrieta, and then who do you go third? I mean, it starts to become a little bit of a concern as you look down the way.
I don't know if it's one of those things where the Cubs are just trying to bring guys up in their velocity right now, or if it's a general concern. I guess I'll find out on Flag Day, as Mike Claiborne likes to say. But Kyle Hendricks' velocity and velocity gap are problematic, and John Lackey, I'm really concerned that his age is really starting to show.
He's showing it. I mean, this is a guy that has won, 2, at least, maybe 3 World Series titles?
3? Yeah, 3 with the Angels, Red Sox, and the Cubs now.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's so frustrating to see a guy like that where he's a Bulldog, what he's about, but you just know that he can't do it anymore.
He's struggling a little bit, but otherwise, I think the Cubbies are fine. I think they're getting some clutch hitting.
Jason Hayward has hit 2 home runs in back-to-back days for the first time as a Cub.
Wow.
This past series against the Reds.
I don't think he did that as a Cardinal.
He didn't?
I don't think back-to-back, in other words.
Okay.
I doubt. I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. But, Jason Hayward was a guy, guys, that for the Cardinals, and Cubs fans forget this, but he was our team MVP the year that he played with the Cardinals. And I know he got off to a wretched start, like he always does. But then by the end of the season, his hitting, his defense, everything about him, really, he became the MVP of that team.
His defense really covers up a lot of the flaws in his swing. And now that his swing is good, it's turning into this guy could be one of the more productive players on the Cubs. And right now, he's a better hitter than Kyle Schwarber right now.
Right.
Better hitter than Javier Baez right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got nothing.
Who would have thought that with those two?
You got nothing out of Hayward last year and won a World Series.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is getting paid a lot of money. There's no doubt that is a blemish a little bit on that Cubs contract. But if he starts playing like we think he can, that's just an added bonus. So it'll be incredible. Well, Austin, thank you, sir.
No problem.
Well done.
Looking at Hayward's splits here, and OBP up from 300 to 350. Batting average up a whole 60, basic almost 70 points near 300. And that's huge. I mean, strikeouts pretty low, only 11 strikeouts so far in 69 plate appearances. So, yeah, I mean, if he is a net positive offensive player, then that's basically what you were hoping for anyways. And to keep in mind, he is still only 27 years old. Right. I know the beard makes him look like he's 38.
What? It does. He does seem like it because he's been around baseball for a long time. There was a lot of ballyhoo about him coming up with the Braves, and you heard all about Jason Hayward. So even before he got to the majors, you heard a lot about Hayward, which makes him the beard makes him appear, but it makes him feel like he's older than what he actually is.
And so far through 3 weeks of the season, this tells you how bad he was last year. He was a 1.5 WAR player. I know that's your favorite stat.
Oh, without a doubt.
By comparison, with St. Louis the year before, he was 6.5 WAR, which is all-star level. I mean, that's really fantastic.
No doubt.
This year so far, 3 weeks in the season, he's already at 0.7 WAR, meaning if you project that out, that's going to be a really good season total for him. At least I think that's how it works.
Right.
So, yeah, that is encouraging if you're a Cubs fan because you kind of went into the season probably thinking that ship may have sailed. And then his spring training was not good.
No, it was not.
So we'll see. I mean, it is 3 weeks into it. Does he keep this up or does he revert back to what he was doing? But he's been smoking some of those balls.
Yes, he has.
That is encouraging that he's actually not every at-bat is seemingly that ground out to second, which is what last year was.
I was about to say, because growing up, I think I've told you guys, my nickname was Old 4-3.
Oh, no.
Every time, I was a left-handed hitter, and every time I'd hit the two-hopper to second, so my coach just started calling me, hey, Old 4-3.
Oh. Your coach has called you that?
Yeah.
How old were you?
Young, like high schoolish. Yeah, that's what I got.
Oh, man.
And then I carried it on to softball and just, The old 4-3.
That's kind of a sad story,
It
actually.
really is, right?
Your coach is called the old 4-3.
That's all right, though. I took it and said, am I still in the lineup? Yeah, you're still in. There's nobody better.
My coaches didn't make fun of me out loud.
That didn't make any sense. There's nobody better. There are a lot of people better. There's nobody worse, in other words.
Oh, well, that's not true. I mean, I played baseball. I'm sure I was worse than you.
I was going to have Harry Black jump on and talk a little hockey, but he is down, I think, podcasting. I think he's going to have an intro for the Blues.
Yeah, for the Blues, who are, facing the Predators coming
now
up.
the Predators in round 2.
So does that mean that it would have been Blackhawks Blues?
Yes.
Okay.
The way the NHL works now, and I hate this, I detest this. What they do is they take 1 through 8, obviously, in your conference. So the Blues are in the Western Conference. Blackhawks, Blues are all in the Western. And what you do then is the top team plays. So there are the top 3 teams in each division advance to the playoffs, and then 2 wild cards. So the last wild card plays the best record. So in this situation, it was the Nashville Predators played the best, which was the Blackhawks. Then it was the second plays number 2, or, the 7th plays 2.
Basically, it's overly complex.
But no, because then the 3-4 games, like the seedings there are just whoever finishes second and third in division plays each other. So what it almost does every year is guarantees that you're going to play everybody in your division to even get to the third round, the round before the Stanley Cup. So the Blues, for instance, the Blues were going to play the Minnesota Wild, same division. If they win, then they're going to play either the Blackhawks or Predators, same division.
Got it.
So they don't see anybody in the Pacific like the Sharks or the Ducks. Sharks are out now, but it'd be Anaheim or...
I kind of like that.
Yeah, you do? No, I hate it.
I do.
I hate it because you play those teams so often. I'd rather play the LA Kings or the Anaheim Ducks, although I don't like that because it really messes with your sleeping pattern
now,
when those games start at 9
I would
o'clock.
like it in a sport where there is less luck involved.
Yeah, true.
So, if it were the NBA, and you use that same format, it would basically be saying that it is all that much more important to win your division.
Good call.
That way you have home field or home court, I should say, or home ice.
And the Blues have home ice now
over the course of the first 2 rounds.
Right.
And then after that, so basically you win your little nook of your division again, right? You have to go through that whole gauntlet one more time before now you expand to whatever the rest of the conference is, other divisions, things like that. And then you have the Stanley Cup. So gradually, kind of like in a hierarchical way,
that's true.
You're moving division, conference, and then league.
And that's fair. I'm glad you kind of gave an outside perspective to that because I just dislike it, and I think it's because
of this. In defense, communism's a good idea, too. Right.
It basically comes down to this. It seems like every year now, and obviously they beat them last year, and then the Hawks aren't around this year, but I'm still terrified of the Blackhawks every year. But the Hawks are out, and I'm going to bring on Harry Black, our intern, who's one of our hockey guys. Harry and I are the hockey guys.
The hockey analysis.
Exactly.
Harry Black.
And you've got your Philadelphia Flyer shirt on today.
Bobby Clark.
I love it, man. So you asked me in passing moments ago about, Lon, are you disappointed about these first round series in hockey? There hasn't been a game 7.
Yeah, not yet. And this looked like it was going to be a great first round.
Right.
And we had some great matchups. We had the Canadians against the Rangers.
Yep, the old Habs.
Which was at 2-2. Maple Leafs Capitals was at 2-2.
Toronto is going to be so good in a couple of years.
Maple Leafs?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. It's going to be so much fun because we have the next wave of great hockey players.
Yes, we do.
Austin Matthews and
Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid, my goodness.
They're coming.
The kid in Detroit.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but you're right.
Yeah, we have such good talent on the way. But yeah, in the first round, it just seemed like we were going to get at least one game 7.
I know.
It looked like, or maybe even another game 6. I thought Minnesota might be able to squeak one out there against the Blues.
We had 2 sweeps. I mean, you had the Blackhawks swept. Calgary was swept.
Calgary wasn't a surprise.
Well, no, I mean, they're not very good. Calgary. All right, well, Harry, I wanted you to just join us real quick, and then I wanted you in here when I did my hockey minute because you've never heard it, and so I'm getting ready to do one.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, buddy, we're going to do that right now. Thank you, Harry. We got Chris Raby. It is back. Chris Raby coming up, KMOX. We're going to talk about the Blues and also the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals have won 5 of 6. I'm going to note that and find out to see if that's exactly correct.
Okay.
But I think that is. They swept the Pirates. They beat someone no. Then they beat the Brewers 3 of 4. So that's 5 of 6.
Okay.
No, that's 6 of 7, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, they've had a really good stretch here.
True. That's 6 of 7 after they were mauled by your Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks a lot for that.
Well, I would like to think that we woke them up.
All right. So if you've never heard the Hockey Minute, basically what we did is Jeremy's not a big hockey fan, and he allows me 1 minute every show or anytime I want. Anytime I want, I get 1 minute to talk hockey.
Did you know you have a sponsor for Hockey Minute?
I do. It's DP, right?
No.
It's not?
It's Prairie View Landscape.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
No,
DP
it's fine.
Doe is Tay's Take. That's my fault.
DP Doe's got the Tay's Take, so they got that. They got that note covered. But of course, Prairie View Landscaping, and they have their offer through the rest of April, 25% off your 2017 lawn care. They're going to come hook up my yard, which is
nice.
Just
it's not very good.
But the good thing is when they're done with it, it will look good.
It will,
so,
yes.
Email mypbdiscount@gmail.com. That's mypbdiscount@gmail.com.
I need to take a drink before I do this because it's a lot of words in 1 minute.
It's very impressive, Harry. Take notes. This is how you do radio right here.
I have no idea if this will be one of my best, but here we go. Oh, yeah, round two. Let's get this party started. Wait, someone's missing. What in the name of high sticking are the Blackhawks not doing in the second round again? Pekka who? Wow, the Preds were really good at sweeping the West top seed to the golf course. Heck, even perennial flop Washington managed to avoid an up-and-coming Maple Leaf squad. So we move on. The Blues are now the next target of Nashville, and if there's one goalie who steams up to the challenge, it's Jake Allen. You know, the kid the Notes trusted with the long-term contract and the shipping of Brian Elliott, the kid that midway through the season appeared to be playing for a backup role with our Club Illini team. Then Marty happened. Martin Brodeur changed everything, and now Allen is changing Blues fans' mind about how good this team can be. Hey, Paulie's back, Vladdy finally found the net, and the defensemen shaped like NBA centers are all excelling. Wednesday night can't come soon enough, and the Notes hope to find the right tune against Nashville. Whoa, I threw in a little Nashville music tune thing. Did you get that? That's hard to do, man. Whew. That is, I'm usually sweating after a hockey match.
I'm exhausted listening to it.
That one wasn't
well
as
done,
bad.
though. Was that your first one in a while?
It's been a while, and
Wow.
I feel bad, and I apologize to all hockey fans out there for not doing it. I just wasn't into hockey as much this year, but I'm into it now.
Well, because the Blues weren't good for a good chunk of the year.
They weren't, and I don't want to sound like I'm bandwagon, but they just weren't really fun.
I mean, let's be honest. One's interest in a sport usually correlates with how well their team's doing.
Totally agree.
The NFL, I don't care anymore.
Right.
Is the draft Thursday?
Yes. We got to. I told Austin we'll have to pick an NFL draft guy on Thursday.
Because we could say let's do a mock draft. I wouldn't know where to begin.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Who do I want the Bears? I don't
Miles
care.
Jack, right? Or something. Oh, yeah. Okay. Austin wants to, or I'm sorry. Harry wants to know who I've got for the series. I got the Blues. They've got home ice. I've got them in 6. I'll take the Blues in 6 over the Predators. I always hate starting at home. I honestly hate starting at home because in hockey, it's 2-2, 1-1-1. And if you start on the road and you get a win, man, everything is in your favor like it was against Minnesota. Now you almost feel the pressure, the old fan pressure, Carp, of winning that first one so you don't lose home ice.
They seem to be a team that might do better in that underdog role.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And they're a team that doesn't maybe have the star. They've got Vladdy, but they've got a lot of moving pieces. And I mentioned the defenseman, Parayko, Alex Pietrangelo, who is one of the top 3 defensemen in the world, and I think Parayko's turning into that. Edmondson's doing well. I'm not a Bouwmeester fan, but he's playing well. So this Blues team, they've got defense. They've got Jake Allen standing on his head, as we say. So who knows? And when we come back, we'll visit with Chris Raby, KMOX. We'll talk Blues. We'll talk Bulls. We'll do it next. It is the Tay and J Show.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda. Let's go! Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Your business is growing, which means now you need to hire more people.
Oh, the searching.
The emails.
Where do we start?
ZipRecruiter. Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, ZipRecruiter makes hiring simple. One click and your job is posted to over 100 job sites. Use ZipRecruiter's dashboard to easily screen and evaluate candidates and find the right hire fast. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. Now try ZipRecruiter free. Just click the banner now or go to ZipRecruiter.com/easyhire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/easyhire.
Hi, it's Belinda from Fancy Thrift and Resale Emporium in Villa Grove. And as an entrepreneur, one of my passions is helping other small businesses to succeed. That's why I'm inviting you to our Spring Fanciful Philo Fun Festival and Small Business event on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Frank Center in Philo. A fun family event where businesses, entertainers, and vendors will showcase what they offer, from chair massages to delectable treats and mini workouts and more. This is a great way to get more information about locally owned businesses, as over 20 small businesses and vendors will be on hand. So mark your calendar now for our Spring Fanciful Philo Fun Festival and Small Business event on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Frank Center in Philo. Get more details on Facebook. Just search Fancy Thrift and click on events. Again, go to Facebook and search Fancy Thrift.
ESPN Radio Mike and Mike, Extra Point.
Jalen Rose, Booger McFarland, Lewis Riddick in our studio.
I would love to pick your brain on what you said about Mixon, and you mentioned him being the most talented of them all, but also you noted that he was somebody, because of those issues, that you wouldn't touch.
The scales can't always be sliding based on, well, what can he bring to me from a talent level? Because at some point you have to stand for something, and something has to be a deal breaker for you at some point in time. And that kind of thing, domestic violence, having daughters, having sisters, those are the kinds of things when you think about that. And if it was your wife, your daughter, your sister, would you say, okay, I'll give this guy a second chance if you saw that happen to your wife, your daughter, your sister?
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
At Ferguson, service is our most important part. So if service is the part you're missing from your supply house, come into one of our 600 nationwide locations and let our team help yours. Whether it's tracking down those hard-to-find parts, having your order ready and waiting at our will call, or helping you manage your inventory with our SKU app and online ordering, the edge every trade professional needs is right around the corner. And with Ferguson Pro Plus, you'll earn redeemable points with every online purchase. Come into one of our locations or visit Ferguson.com today.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a Wix filter for $32.99 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card after mail-in rebate. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with the Castrol and Wix Oil and Filter Special at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5 Latte. Mike Carpenter. We're going to replay, for those of you that did not get a chance to hear Derek Piper, the big news. Mark Smith, Edwardsville guard, is going to make his announcement Wednesday night, Carp, and deciding where he's going to attend college to play basketball. Of course, Illinois right in the thick of it, along with Michigan State. We feel like those are the top two.
Yeah.
Ohio State he visited this weekend. You also have, Kentucky and Duke made a visit.
Yeah.
Kansas early kind of made a visit. So that's kind of what you're seeing right now with Mark Smith. But we're going to find out something Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
I'm an impatient fella.
Right.
But we'll make it through to 6 o'clock Wednesday, and we hope to bring you that live via stream. I know KSDK is working on a live stream.
Okay.
As we get closer to that, that's the network that Frank Cusimano works for down in the St. Louis area. But a big moment, potentially, for Illinois basketball, and you hope that's the day that we look back on as maybe the beginning, or at least the official beginning, of Underwood's long and successful tenure as not just a coach, but a recruiter.
It would be big news, and I know Chris Raby. I'm not sure. Chris, I know you cover the high school scene down there, and you know all about Mark Smith from Edwardsville. Of course, he's making the announcement on Wednesday of where he's going to attend college. I'll start with you on that, and you can forgive yourself if you don't know much about the situation, but we welcome in Chris Raby, KMOX. We're all holding our breath here, Chris, that he's going to say Illinois on Wednesday.
Yeah, and it sounds like, from stuff I was reading today, I know his coach said he didn't know, but for the people that cover this stuff and that know more than I do, it seems like that's kind of where it's expected to end up. So I know maybe a little disappointing after Brad Underwood wasn't able to, I guess, technically retain Jeremiah Tillman, although who knows what's going on with him. I think he just loves being recruited. We'll see what happens. Like, Mizzou had a guy like that, too. Sheldon Richardson, who committed to Mizzou and then had to go to JUCO at the College of the Sequoias. He then reopened his recruitment, and Lane Kiffin got involved in USC, and some guys just love being recruited.
I think they do.
Yeah, so and I don't blame them. It would be cool. If I could go back and do fraternity rush again, I'd probably rush a few more houses and get a few more free meals.
Well, you know what? And Chris, you're allowed 5 visits. I don't know why everybody doesn't visit Hawaii.
Why wouldn't you? Especially the way that these visits go now, and the way these kids are treated. But certainly exciting, and I'm not sure if a lot of people 3 months ago thought we'd be talking as much Illinois and Mizzou hoops here in April, but yeah, it's certainly been exciting, and I agree with you guys. Brad Underwood came by KMOX a couple of weeks ago, just absolutely top-notch.
Awesome.
We obviously know the AD from his time here at WashU, just also absolutely top-notch, and I think they're going to be good.
Chris, covering sports down in the St. Louis area, this also means that late December, right before Christmas, that bragging rights game has so much more oomph behind it after it was kind of on life support for the last couple of years. That has to be just exciting from the perspective of St. Louis as a city, where that used to be the premier holiday event every year.
Yeah, it was huge. And I am one of 5 kids in my family. 3 of us went to Mizzou, 2 went to Illinois.
Wow.
So we'd make it, an awesome weekend here in St. Louis. And obviously the teams haven't been great. And the game, for some reason, I don't know if it's building availability at Scottrade, but it's been in the middle of the week over the last 2 years. So I hope it gets back to the Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. And yeah, you're right. Oomph is the right word, because with all of the excitement, especially around Mizzou in the St. Louis area, and certainly with Illinois having Underwood and some excitement around them too, it would be great to see that building packed again, to see it half Mizzou, half Illinois. And you're right, especially if it's a weekend, it's really great for the city of St. Louis, and especially with some of the improvements that they're going to begin, I believe, this summer, making the Scottrade Center. It should be good. So, yeah, looking forward to it. And again, it's been a while, I think, since we've been really fired up about college basketball here in April during baseball and hockey season.
Yeah, and then, Chris, of course, Missouri and everything that Conzo's done so far really just reignited that program and the energy behind it. There may be some concern, I guess, about his coaching acumen or his ability to coach up players, but at the end of the day, he seems like a guy that's going to be bringing in a lot of talent. A lot of times that's really the most important thing.
And has flipped it immediately. I mean, the excitement level for Missouri.
Yeah, it all happened in a couple of hour span. It was the day before I came back from Florida. Tom Ackerman and I were driving from Fort Myers back across the state to Jupiter, and the news breaks that Conzo is getting hired, and then the news breaks that Lorenzo Romar is getting fired. And then all of a sudden, Michael Porter Jr. goes to work starting to recruit players. Again, I don't know where it will end up, and I don't claim to know much about recruiting, but some indications today that Kevin Knox may really be considering Mizzou. Porter's brother could potentially reclassify. So there's excitement, and you're right. I really believe that it's more about the players, especially if you're trying to reignite a program that's been in trouble. Sometimes we hear it all the time, it's cliche, but you only need one guy. And in this case, that guy was Michael Porter Jr., and I think that will obviously benefit the recruiting next year. And even if he's one and done and another guy or two is one and done, then you've got a couple of other guys that have already signed up that I think you're really excited about. And Conzo is really focused on St. Louis and focused on the St. Louis area, which has been something that Mizzou hasn't been able to do, is lock down guys in St. Louis and in their own backyard. So hopefully if you can do that, the SEC is not exactly the strongest basketball conference. You can have some success right away and start winning some basketball games.
Yeah, I think his brother, his name's Jonte Porter. And, I mean, if he signs, he's got to come on the show with me. John Tay and Lante. We'll just do a little. That. I do too. I think that'd be cool. All right, Chris Raby, we had you on obviously to talk some Cardinals, but also these Blues. Chris Raby, KMOX Sports in St. Louis. Follow him on Twitter at @CRaby. That's CHRABE. I want to start with this. I have been, obviously, everybody's impressed with Jake Allen. Vladdy found the net. Stasny's back. We could go on and on and on. I am so impressed and continue to be not only with 27 with Pietrangelo, but Parayko. I feel like Bouwmeester, Edmondson, even Bertuzzo. I mean, these defensemen, and when you look at the typical St. Louis defensemen, they're all tall. They all have stick length to where seems like they can reach from the goal to the blue line. It is amazing how that defense is such a strength for that team, especially right now.
Yeah, it is. And their physicality really, I think, frustrated Minnesota. During stretches of the series, they really were able to keep Minnesota to the outside, and they weren't giving up a whole lot of scoring chances in the middle of the ice. Obviously, some of the shots were piling up, but I think you live with that when they're not coming from in front of the net and they're not coming from some of the danger areas.
Good call.
It's a big step, and I think that as we look back at the trade deadline, the Blues are in the middle of a 5-game losing streak right at the beginning of March, and they trade Kevin Shattenkirk, so you kind of think, here we go. You're not conceding this year, but I think at the time Doug Armstrong said we don't necessarily make this trade if we think we're a Stanley Cup team. But what happens, you have Pietrangelo fill in for Shattenkirk on the power play and put up numbers as good as anyone in the league offensively over the last month or month and a half of the season. And then you have Parayko and Edmondson play a little bit more and fill some of the minutes that were left by Shattenkirk. And then you plug Robert Bortuzzo into the mix on your third pair. And the Blues like him a lot. That's why they give him a contract extension back in December. And they like his physicality, and they're trusting him with more minutes now. So it's kind of been the story for the Blues that they're balanced and they're deep. And when you're able to use all 4 of your lines, but especially in the playoffs, all 3 of your defensive pairs, Jordan Schmaltz only played 9 minutes in the first game, so Bortuzzo comes back and is closer to that 13, 14-minute mark. It takes pressure off everyone else. And I think the evolution of Parayko and Edmondson has allowed those guys to, be 25, 26-minute players. And again, in the playoffs, it's important to have guys that you trust and not have to rely on Pietrangelo to play 35 minutes. So I think Nashville has the same kind of depth defensively, and I think that certainly when you've got guys playing big minutes, extra days off help. So series starting pretty quickly. We'll only be off till Wednesday, but every day counts for the Blues in terms of not needing to play extra games, and that was something that hurt them last year, and hopefully they benefit from a quick first series, as Nashville I'm sure will as well.
And without a doubt. Chris Raby, I got 2 more. I got one more on the Blues and then a general question about the Cardinals. Explain to our listeners kind of what happened with Vladimir Sobotka and in other words, why all of a sudden now he's able to come and play with the Blues, and then kind of his impact. His impact has been felt. Of course, he had the assist on the game winner in Game 5. What? Explain a little bit about him.
Well, he left the Blues a few years ago because he wanted a contract extension, and instead the Blues were going to go to arbitration. So there was an arbitration ruling, but he technically wasn't under contract. So he decided, for financial reasons, to go to the KHL in Russia, where he was going to make a little more money. So he left, and he was under contract in the KHL, and there were reports that when there was the financial crisis with the currency in Russia, he may have renegotiated his contract, and that may have affected the outs. He also switched agents, so there's a little bit of confusion there. But the Blues, I believe, last summer felt like he was going to come back. That's why they made some of the decisions that they made on their roster, and they felt like there was a chance he was going to negotiate an opt-out of his KHL contract. That didn't happen, and he played out the season in the KHL, and then after the year was over, he was able to negotiate an opt-out. He came back to the Blues to play out the arbitration award, which would be the remainder of this season, whether it was the beginning of the year or the end of the year. That was going to be the arbitration award from the arbiter, and then he signed a 3-year extension that will kick in beginning next year.
Awesome.
So kind of a quirky rule, but he was allowed to leave because he technically wasn't under contract with the Blues. Like in baseball, when that arbitration decision is made, the player then plays it out. But he was able to come back, and what he's given the Blues is a guy who's got a lot of experience both in the NHL and the KHL playoffs, a lot of experience internationally, some familiarity with the Blues system, and he's really good on face-offs. Like, they were able to throw him into the mix the last game of the season against Colorado, and then right into the playoffs. And when they didn't have Paul Stastny, Sobotka was one of the better faceoff guys. So he brings that to the table. He brings some physicality. The Blues, I think, have really benefited from the play of him, Perron, Payarvi, guys that get into the offensive zone and forecheck and are able to put some pressure on the opponent in their own zone. And, he's been good. A fresh set of legs, too, a guy who had a little bit of time off before the playoffs. So, I give Doug Armstrong a lot of credit for that because I think there were times over the course of the season when people were like, all right, we're done with this guy. Forget him. We don't need him. But he came back, and he's been great. Yep. So I know they're excited to have him for the next 3 years, and he's been a big impact so far in this playoffs.
Yeah, and credit Mike Yeo. He made the right move, put Payarvi in for Game 5, and he ends up getting the netter to win it. So incredible there. All right, Chris Raby, just an overview of the Cardinals. Obviously, after that Yankees series and that little road trip with Washington and New York, I know a lot of Cardinals fans in a little bit of a panic, but they've kind of settled down. They won, 6 of 7 here against the Pirates and Brewers, and now you got a long homestand. As you look at the Cardinals at this point, I know there's a long season to go here. What do you think generally of this squad?
I think pretty much the same thing. I never thought they were, as bad as maybe the record indicated. And I know that we love to be prisoners of the moment, and it can be frustrating when guys say, "Oh, it's a long season and nobody's panicking, and we just got to take it one game at a time." But I feel like a couple of those games early, especially a couple with the Cubs, they could have gone either way. Yep. You have a little bit of bad luck maybe in D.C., and all of a sudden after that Yankees series, we've seen this team kind of play as I think they hoped to and as their recipe for success would dictate. We've seen the pitching be really, really good. The starting pitching has been great, especially Mike Leake, who went yesterday, Lance Lynn, Michael Wacha. We saw a little bit more from Adam Wainwright and a little bit more, I think, what you hope to get from him on Friday night in the win in Milwaukee. And, they've been spotty at times, maybe defensively, but I think generally they're playing pretty solidly defensively. The Pittsburgh series here in St. Louis, that was certainly the case.
Yes.
When you add in good starting pitching, better defense, and a bullpen that I think the numbers are a little bit inflated, but they're starting to come around. Great outing for Brett Cecil, good couple of outings for Sion Wano over the weekend. I think that's kind of how they would have drawn it up before the year. So, again, 9-10 right now, right about 500. Feels right, and it's what everyone's dealing with, right? Like the Cubs are 10-8. I don't think they lost their 8th game until mid-May last year. I forget the exact date, but it was quite a while till they lost their 8th game. So, this is what happens, and I think that they're still a team that will challenge for the wild card. They could certainly, I think, challenge in the Central, especially if the Cubs continue to struggle a little bit with their starting pitching. But, I think this is kind of where I thought they were going to be. So the homestand should be great. Toronto is scuffling a little bit.
Sure.
You then get another crack at Cincinnati and then Milwaukee before you head out onto the road for Atlanta and Miami. So, yeah, looking forward to the homestand, and I think pitching and defense still the recipe for this team to continue to win games.
Well done, buddy. Chris Raby, KMOX. Follow him on Twitter at Raby, CHRABE. It is awesome to be able to turn to somebody with your knowledge and talk about this, Chris. We appreciate it, buddy.
Always fun, guys. Thanks for having me.
You too. All right, Chris Raby, KMOX, getting us up to speed on the St. Louis Blues. And it is an interesting thing about Vladimir Sobotka because, he made mention, I'm not sure how much you really digested of that cart, but essentially this kid was not happy with arbitration, so he decided to go back to Russia and play with the KHL, and then they've had some issues in Russia with their finances, etc., and now the Blues were able to sweep him back over to the States, and now you got him locked up for 3 years. He's a heck of a player. And I think for a lot of Blues fans, you remember him early on thinking, man, he's going to really help this team. And then all of a sudden, he goes back to Russia. Then there were times you thought he was coming back and he didn't, and you did get frustrated. You just finally got to the point where it's like, let's just move on from Sobotka. Let's just move on. Let's forget about him. Well, he's back now, and he's made an immediate impact. He had the assists in overtime to win Game 5 and wrap that series up with Minnesota. So it makes a big difference when you get a kid like that in your lineup, and I know it's just kind of a confusing thing as you go along. So hopefully the Blues can keep doing this against Nashville. It'd be fun to get to that Western Conference final again.
What if this was the year?
I know. That's what Jeremy and I just laugh about.
I mean, for the Blues, for that kind of franchise, wouldn't it be the unexpected run?
Yeah, it would be. That's exactly right, because they've been to 3 cups. They've never won one, and it would be a fun parade on Market Street in St. Louis, and one that I guarantee you I would be at if the St. Louis Blues could capture
a remote from Shannon's.
Let's do it. No, it's not. That's not
is
even
that closed anymore.
It's not even. Yeah.
Wow.
I think they moved it.
Okay.
We'll go down to patios, or we'll go down there. So we'll find a spot.
We do need to look into the bragging rights.
Yes, I'm in with that. If I'm in with that, if you're in with that.
Here's hoping, though, it is like a night game.
Yes.
You know, like he mentioned the weekends. As long as it's Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, we're good.
Even if it's a Saturday night, we could go down and do a special Saturday show.
Yeah, but at that point, wouldn't you want to just hang out on a Saturday?
Right.
I mean, there's certain things you can't do on the air. So
I think I know exactly where you're coming from.
Right,
so yeah, let's just the three
what
of us
if we
just go
just
down
did a special podcast from our phones as we're driving to St.
That's
Louis?
perfect.
And then when we get there, we don't have to worry about anything.
Or we do the show Friday night from down there. We'll just tell
There
Stevie.
you go.
Just tell Stevie, you know, hotels in St. Louis are so cheap.
You know, if you go hot wire, absolutely.
He can just buy us a hotel Friday and Saturday, so we'll stick around for or he can buy Friday. The three of us will chip in for
There we
Saturday.
go. We'll get a night.
That's perfect.
We'll get
That's
a night.
perfect. And then we'll have some fun down in St. Louis for the bragging rights game. All right. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. Next hour, no guests, so it'll be all you. 359-2255. Austin Berkland waiting patiently for this. Cheese and crackers.
A good snack.
Right?
That is a good snack.
Oh, they're awesome.
I'm Austin Berkland with your 440 Sports Center update brought to you by Prairie Landscaping. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com. For a free quote, you get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care through April. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Let's start off with some Illini news. The time is finally here, folks. Illinois will find out if they landed a commitment from Mr. Basketball of Illinois, Mark Smith, when he announces his college decision at 6 p.m. at Edwardsville High School. The news was broken by frequent guest of the show, Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com. He recently just had visits with Michigan State, Illinois, and Ohio State. Keeping up with the Illini news, the softball team was rocking an 8-game win streak going into the weekend series against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. After winning the first two games 1-0 and 5-3 respectively, that 10-game win streak came to a crashing end, losing 14-0 on Sunday. Their next game is Friday against Wisconsin at Eichelberger Field. Onto the baseball team, they dropped all three to the Purdue Boilermakers. They only scored 4 runs in the 3-game series. They traveled to Peoria to take on the Bradley Braves on Tuesday. We stay on the diamond as all three local teams had a weekend series. The defending World Series champion Cubs led the Reds this weekend and won 2 out of the 3. Jason Hayward hit 2 home runs this weekend, and Anthony Rizzo hit 3 of his own. They are still on the road as they take on the Martellus Pirates tonight to begin a 3-game series. It's Anderson versus Cole. The Cardinals have a 4-game series against the Brew Crew up in Wisconsin, and they won the last 3 of that series. Mike Leake was fantastic, giving up 3 hits, 3 walks, and 2 runs. They play Toronto tomorrow. The White Sox play the Royals tonight at 7:10 on CSN Chicago. And the Bulls, they're back to even series with the Celtics. And the Saints, Danger, and Peterson are negotiating a contract. That's according to ESPN.
Lon, you've probably seen all the construction going around Green Street.
Yes.
A little nuts.
I saw it, and I avoided it.
Yes, but here's the good news.
Okay.
There are multiple ways to get to DP Dough, which this is why it's important. If you visit DP Dough...
That sounds so good right now.
They're offering a calzone of the day for half price.
Really?
Yes. Head to dpdough.com's menu section. Check out today's steal. Not meal, steal.
Okay.
Not deal. Steal.
Steal.
Even though it is a deal.
I like
Buffer zones, barbecue chicken, and Italian zones galore. And Wednesdays get even better. You get to choose your own half-price zone.
How about this? Wednesday, you get a half-price zone of your choosing.
Well, every day there is a half-price zone based on the calzone of the day.
Got it.
Wednesday, you can
pick
choose
your own.
whatever your favorite calzone is.
Unbelievable.
So every day, Monday through Friday, you got yourself a calzone of the day.
Sweet.
Enjoy this deal while it lasts all summer long. Offer not valid for delivery. It is carry out only, but again, there's multiple ways to get to DP Dough. Be creative. A GPS will certainly help out. DP Dough, to each his or her zone.
I like it. Get your calzone Wednesday. Listen to us for your Garth Brooks tickets.
Well, again, you can get the calzone any day,
but
you can get your personal favorite on Wednesday
and get Garth Brooks tickets here, and then listen for Mark Smith to say Illinois.
That's a hell of a Wednesday.
That's a great Wednesday,
Get
isn't
a
it?
calzone and wash it down with that beer heard around the world at 6:05.
Oh, that'd be awesome. You're on to something with that, by the way, and we're going to talk about that.
We need to think of a clever hashtag, and then it will spread like wire.
Totally do. All right, if you want to weigh in, 217-359-2255. I'll ask you, Illinois fans, text in our Chief Bauer text line. You can always call the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line as well, but how do you feel? Do you feel good about landing Mark Smith? I know we've had a couple. We had someone text in and say if they were a betting man, then Ohio State would be the guy or would be the choice because Thad Matta sold him that he could be the savior of Ohio State. Okay, that's fair. How are you thinking, Illini fans, about Mark Smith, who's going to make an announcement at 6 o'clock on Wednesday? Again, 359-2255. We'll read your texts as we roll along today. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Need new tires? How would you like to save $200 on a set of 4 select Goodyear tires? Right now at CarX Tire and Auto, get up to $200 in savings when you purchase a set of 4 Goodyear tires and use the CarX Drive Card credit card. Your Champaign CarX man has the right tires for your vehicle at any of his 3 convenient locations. And now up to $200 off. Stop in, call, or schedule online at CarX.com.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
See store for details.
The Home Depot has a new idea. Free carpet installation that means free carpet installation. Clearing out furniture? Free. Ripping out old carpet? No charge. Hauling it away? On the house. No hidden fees. Just free installation on carpet $699 or more. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Unique specialty items and requirements may be priced separately. Not valid in all markets. See HomeDepot.com for details. Offer ends June 7th.
Money Smart Week is back April 22nd through the 29th. There's always something new to learn about money management, so make sure you get involved with one or many of the events planned for Money Smart Week 2017. It's an entire week of classes, workshops, training programs, and seminars to address money management at every stage of life. Everyone will benefit, from kids to young adults to those getting ready for retirement. This week of events is for everyone. Visit MoneySmartWeek.org for a list of events surrounding Money Smart Week, or search Money Smart Week Champaign County on Facebook.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda, or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
DP Dough is the original Calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original Calzone company.
Renew, energize, and donate. Join Keller Williams Realty of Champaign, the real estate center of Illinois, for their annual Red Day, Thursday, May 11th, the company's annual day of service dedicated to renewing, energizing, and donating to their local communities. As part of the Red Day effort, Keller Williams Associates will spend the day with See You at Home, building new sheds, painting, light remodeling, and landscaping at multiple locations offered by See You at Home. For more information about Red Day, visit kwchampaignredday.com. That's kwchampaignredday.com. Go to kwchampaignredday.com.
It's warming up around Champaign, and that means it's time to get outside and ride in a Polaris off-road vehicle. And the best time to buy is during the Polaris Spring Sales event. You'll find great financing, plus rebates up to $2,000. You'll even get a free 2-year extended warranty on any full-size Ranger, or any Sportsman 450 or 570 ATV. See your Polaris dealer now. Offers valid through April and vary by model. No charge for promotional 2-year extended warranty. See dealer for details. Off-road vehicles can be hazardous to operate. Always wear a helmet and take a safety training course.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign, Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, Mike Carpenter, asking you, how do you feel as Mark Smith gets ready to make his announcement Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. There's a press conference, I believe, from Edwardsville High School, I assume.
Yeah.
Mark Smith will make his college decision. Illinois right in the thick of it with Michigan State. Kentucky, of course, made a visit. So did Duke. We will see what he does. And we asked you for your thoughts on the Chief Bauer text line. That's 217-359-2255.
First off, there is a 200-level episode tonight.
Oh, there
is?
is?
The last one.
Airing tonight?
Airing tonight.
I did
Live.
not. Wow,
Yeah.
this is a yeoman day for you.
Well, the good news is we are going to replay Derek Piper's interview at 5:40,
Okay.
so I'll eat my dinner.
Well, there you go.
Because that's going on.
Because I'm sneaking out to go watch baseball.
And so we will have the Derek Piper, a lot of good stuff in that interview coming up again at 5:40. Then
Sweet.
the 200 level from 6 to 7. The last one until late August.
Okay.
We'll come back for football season.
So if Mark Smith says yes Wednesday, and all of a sudden somebody else pops, and we hear about a fifth-year guy on Friday, let's say, would you and Steve consider doing one more?
What am I doing next Monday night?
No, you need a Monday night off.
We'll talk about it.
It's a lot of work.
I got
you do a lot of work on that.
Devin had tweeted me and said, you might want to postpone this last show until Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I think that this will be, this is what I was doing. I was going back and looking at two things, the Illinois schedule from this year and kind of the timeline of events and the 16 shows that we did.
Right.
And these 16 weeks, there has been more packed into Illinois basketball news than any 4-month period I have ever
Isn't
that
that
I can
amazing?
remember.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because we're living it real time, so it
sure.
seems really busy now. But, I mean, this is such a crazy stretch of Illinois basketball. When you think of where you were at in mid-January, let's say.
Right.
How just depressing
It was.
And then here you are, and hope springs eternal, and it would be such a nice way to cap off this 16-week stretch with Wednesday night.
Yes.
Mark Smith announcing that he's coming to
you
Illinois.
had that little stretch right near the end of the season where you felt like if you beat Rutgers and then you beat Michigan to start the Big Ten tournament, you felt like, you know what, you're still going to make the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And if that happens, probably John Gross is still here. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know about that.
So you think if they would have sneaked in, it would have been a iffy call still for
They
Whitman?
snuck in. I think Josh, he made it clear, it seemed like at his press conference, that he was taking the last 5 years and lumping everything in. And with that team just sneaking in, I'm not sure that would have saved John Gross. I really don't think it would have. So, but I don't know. I'm not Josh Whitman, and I don't know what he's thinking and what his thinking was at the time. But then, of course, then you go to the NIT, you make a little bit of a run in the NIT, and then all of a sudden Brad Underwood gets hired.
Oh, and he was hired before the NIT.
Right, that's true, before the last.
So I should rephrase, right? Was he here?
He was here for that game.
Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State.
He was announced 2 days before that.
That's
and It was
right.
that Monday night against Boise State, and he was also your coach during the Taco Fall game.
That's right.
Who can forget? But, just a crazy stretch here. And then, of course, April 10th, looking back, that was the show we did after the whole Tillman thing happened. So that would have happened about 3 weeks ago. Jeremiah Tillman asking to get out of his national letter of intent.
Yep.
And just a whirlwind, always something going on. When we extended through April, we weren't entirely sure if there was going to be enough there.
Got it.
But
I know. Here's what it
who
is.
would have thought that we'd be going into May potentially?
Yes.
With this stuff going on. And that's it though. You hit on, let's say you get Mark Smith and you get a fifth-year transfer of some kind. I think with Mark Smith, it is an interesting roster next year.
Without a doubt.
That I don't want to sit here and say they're going to make the tournament.
Right.
But you know what? I'm excited to watch them play.
Yes.
I'm excited to see what kind of brand of basketball that is off the bat. Even if you don't have
No
a
doubt.
post presence, light it up.
Just go have some fun, shoot some. Let's see this offense.
If I'm making a 3 and you're making a 2, who's going to win?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, and that oversimplifies it.
That
but-
does oversimplify it. But listen, we've got a lot of texts in. We'll get to those next hour. We haven't talked about the Bulls. They're even now in the series with the Celtics. I wanted to get a quick thought from you next hour, so we'll have your texts. We'll talk to Carp about the Bulls. We're going to replay the Derek Piper interview, which was a good one. We'll replay that about 5:40. We've got drive time coming up. We got a lot to do still here on the Tay and J Show. Stick around.
The Home Depot has a new idea. Free carpet installation that means free carpet installation. Clearing out furniture? Free. Ripping out old carpet? No charge. Hauling it away? On the house. No hidden fees. Just free installation on carpet $699 or more. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Unique specialty items and requirements may be priced separately. Not valid in all markets. See HomeDepot.com for details. Offer ends June 7th.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. For a limited time, Lands is offering special financing for 6 years or up to $1,000 trade-in allowance. Your choice, with approved credit on any qualifying trade system. So call Lands at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR for details or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands or visit train.com for complete program eligibility dates, details, and restrictions.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days. Mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For over 145 years, Busey has been committed to improving the quality of life in the communities we serve. Since we first opened our doors, we've been reinvesting in our communities, one project at a time, from financial guidance and support to energetic volunteers and committed leaders. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of our many convenient locations for solutions to your banking and wealth management needs. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy. You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Jane Metzler. Funding for the border wall, a priority for the president, who wants it included in any spending proposal to avoid a partial government shutdown this Saturday. Fox's Jared Halpern has the latest live from Capitol Hill.
The top Democrats warn inclusion of funding for a border wall in that must-pass government spending bill threatens a shutdown.
Democrats have been long clear that the border wall is a non-starter.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says the demand for border wall funding is a monkey wrench thrown into negotiations otherwise going well.
We feel very confident that they understand the president's priorities and that we'll come to an agreement by the end of Friday.
But White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer has not said whether President Trump would sign or veto a measure that fails to include border wall funding. Jane.
Thanks, Jared. The Treasury Secretary expected for a big meeting with congressional leaders tomorrow on the president's tax reform plan. They insist the federal government overstepped. A split decision in a court case involving Western ranchers involved in an armed standoff in 2014. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has the details live.
Jane, the jury deadlocked on charges against 4 of the men on trial for their roles in an armed standoff at Clive and Bundy's ranch outside Vegas. The judge declared a mistrial. 2 other men were convicted, one of extortion and obstruction, the other for threatening and assaulting a federal officer, but none of the men was convicted of the conspiracy charges. Bundy called people to his ranch about 3 years ago to protest the federal government. The Bureau of Land Management was rounding up his cattle after he let them graze on federal lands without paying. Bundy's family has since become the face, really, of the protest movement against government land ownership. His 2 eldest sons temporarily took over a wildlife refuge in Oregon last year, Jane.
Thanks, Jessica. The Dow closing up 216 points today. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Today, there are over 47 million Ford vehicles on the road, rolling on over 188 million tires. That's a lot of rubber to trust to anyone other than the hardworking specialist at Ford Service. No one knows your Ford better than Ford and Ford Service.
Get a $70 rebate by mail on 4 select tires, plus another $70 rebate when you use the Ford Service Credit Card. Subject to credit approval, rebate by prepaid debit card. Other tire manufacturer rebate or offer cannot be combined with Ford Service Credit Card rebate or offer. See your participating Ford dealer for details through 6/30/17.
In your business, you trust people who time and time again get the job done. At Indeed.com, we deliver 5 times more hires than any other job site, according to independent research. That's why over 3 million businesses use Indeed when they're hiring. Because getting the job done matters. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Just in, the Senate has just confirmed former Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue to be President Trump's agriculture secretary. The U.S. keeping a close watch on North Korea, with the communist country about to celebrate another milestone.
Tomorrow is the 85th anniversary of the military's founding in North Korea, and many analysts fear the regime might take the opportunity to test another nuclear device or a long-range ballistic missile.
Fox's Benjamin Hall. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley has said the U.S. could strike North Korea at any time if it does attack a U.S. military base or tests an intercontinental ballistic missile. State Department spokesman Mark Toner.
We're usually pretty close-lipped about possible actions or tests that the North Korean regime may take. Obviously, we'll respond accordingly if and when such actions are taken, such tests are taken.
The entire U.S. Senate invited to the White House Wednesday for a briefing on North Korea. In one of the largest such actions in history, the U.S. imposing 271 sanctions against Syria for its alleged use of chemical weapons in that attack that killed more than 80 civilians. A rare double execution scheduled in Arkansas tonight, but death row inmates, the 2 of them, are appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court. She played Joni Cunningham on Happy Days. Actress Erin Moran, found dead in Indiana Saturday, died from complications of stage 4 cancer. Results of a just completed autopsy. The type of cancer, however, was not disclosed today. The 56-year-old former child star struggled financially after Happy Days and a spin-off with co-star Scott Baio. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast from the National Weather Service, brought to you by Cheap Hour.
That's it.
Trust the heating and cooling experts at Cheap Hour Service Experts to help keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit online at cheapbauer.com. Tonight getting down to 52. Tomorrow looks perfect, 80 and sunny with a low of 60 overnight, and warm again on Wednesday, 81, and then getting down to 56. Good chance of showers and thunderstorms overnight into Thursday morning, which will be cool before we get back into the 70s and warmer beginning on Friday. Right now it is 76, sunny, absolutely perfect. ESPN Radio. It's time for Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For a wide selection of new and used vehicles, check out Honda BMW of Champaign, corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, and online at drivechampaign.com. Drive Time is when we recap all the big stories of the day.
Well, Carp, we all started with the Mark Smith news. The Edwardsville standout guard has made a date. Not a decision, but a date. And it will be Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Mark Smith is going to announce where he will attend college to play basketball. And, of course, Illinois right in the thick of this. Michigan State. Tom Izzo made a nice push late. Kentucky made a visit. Duke flew in to see him. He and his family visited Ohio State. So I guess technically you could say that those 5 schools, and I'm sure Conzo Martin at Missouri has kind of reached out to him as well. And you worry if Jeremiah Tillman maybe reached out a little bit as well. So those schools, I guess, are heavily involved. But, Carp, what do you do? I mean, we talked to Derek Piper, and he seems, he didn't say anything, But I feel like it could be some good news for Illinois, but I'm reaching maybe.
We're at that stage where we will try to make inferences from anything we hear.
Yes, we do.
We'll say, well, that could be that, or that could be that. Well, you are close enough, though, where I think there are certain things playing in your favor. For one, the announcement being on St. Louis television, 6 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday.
Right.
And that last week there was some whispers about if this were Frank Cusimano breaking this news, it would be Illinois or Missouri.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, okay, there's only one team that was actually in that race to begin with. And if it was Michigan State, it would be one of their guys.
Yes.
In all likelihood. Well, this is going to take place down at Edwardsville on a St. Louis station. It's not an East Lansing station. I guess that would have been pretty transparent.
Well,
in other words,
right.
that would have fully given it away that, I'm going to Michigan State.
To me, this is his hub. This is St. Louis is the major media market next to Edwardsville.
So, yeah.
So maybe, and again, I'm
with
you.
Nothing.
I'm with you in terms of you're trying to reach for good signs or bad signs. But to me, maybe it's just a matter of, all right, well, that is the major market for him in St. Louis, and that's where he's going to go do it.
I know that in the last 24 hours, people have been going on his Twitter timeline, and if you go to the likes,
yes,
and you can do that with your Twitter account line or mine, you can see what people liked over the last whatever period of time, and they are 95% Illinois related.
Wow.
And there's a lot of them.
Okay.
So what do we take away from that? Well, you know what? In 2017, Twitter is a consideration.
Yes, it is.
I'm not going to sit here and say that if we were to presume that he's doing that just for fun, or even worse, to mess with, listen.
Well, it's happened.
There's been nothing in this recruitment to indicate that would happen.
Amen.
I guess there was nothing to indicate that Cliff Alexander, there was going to be any foul play, but even that week leading up, there was some uneasiness. With Jeremiah Tillman, there was some uneasiness.
I think it would be weird, though, because it feels like the thought that the family has towards Illinois, whether or not he chooses the Illini, I feel like there's a mutual respect that they like this university. They're Illinois fans. I don't think Mark Smith would toy with Brad Underwood and the Fighting Illini. I really don't. Now, I don't know that means that he's going to come to Illinois, but I don't feel like he would do that out of spite, in other words, to just kind of rub it in that he's not coming here.
This may be one of those rare instances, and I say rare because it seems like Illinois has had a lot of bad luck with recruitments recently, especially in-state guys that you try to prioritize. That location may actually be a huge factor in this decision. It just so happens you hired a coach that can sell his ability to take a guy like Juwan Evans, a 6-foot point guard, and turn him into a lottery pick caliber talent. And there's no reason to think that he couldn't do the same with Mark Smith.
No doubt.
You know, if you were to flip roles and put Illinois' basketball program where it's currently at and place it in East Lansing and then move Michigan State down here to Champaign, this would be a no-brainer.
No doubt.
That's what made Michigan State particularly worrisome, because that would be in so many ways such a perfect fit for him. But there are things on the court that would keep him from being out there potentially as much as he wants to. And the big wild card is maybe he just has that personality that says, give me the ball. And not just that, give me the entire hopes and dreams of a basketball program.
I'm ready to take it over.
And if he pulls this off, if
what
he comes,
a story that would be.
Because he will come in with a narrative that we have not seen since D. Brown.
Right.
And D. Brown came into a situation where Illinois basketball was already in a great spot.
Exactly.
And we're like, ooh, he can take us to that next rung.
And he did.
Well, now this is a story that is just waiting to be written. It could be a total movie-like 4 years here.
Really
if he takes a program that has not made the tournament in 4 years, and then with Brad Underwood and surrounding talent, takes Illinois first from a tournament team to a conference title contender, second weekend of the tournament. Well, so many cool things, and you wonder maybe if that's playing a factor in his decision.
Without a doubt, and of course, Mike, you're going to on Wednesday. You and I will be doing the show all week. I'm going to bail out Wednesday a little bit early for a baseball game for my son, but we hope to have you covered with that announcement. I think KSDK, they're working on a stream that we would then carry right here on ESPN Radio 93.5 at 6 o'clock. So hopefully, like you said, by 6:05, we're toasting that ceremonial beer with the addition, or Coke, or Mountain Dew, whatever you want to do.
But whichever the choice is, just have it alongside, because if he says no and he goes to Michigan State, you're still going to want something anyways.
Exactly.
We do hope it is a drink of jubilation for anyone listening out there, because this is a situation, as an Illinois fan myself, you are craving good news.
Yes, you are.
At the same time, you are gun-shy because there have been so many bouts of bad luck, even recent history. But you could go historically when it comes to recruitments when you get into these sort of races. But again, this one, if you look at the tenor of this whole recruitment, if you were to kind of gauge it like a horse race, Illinois was just steady the whole way. Even with all the upheaval around that program, they were there.
They were.
The entire time. So that has to make you feel good. And I think if Underwood pulls that off, that's the other factor. Be excited for the player, but also be excited at the fact that is a huge recruiting win if it happens for Coach Underwood. And what could he then parlay that into when he gets out there in the recruiting circuit and says, all right, we got this guy.
Right.
We got these pieces. This is not a rebuild.
Wow.
We're going to win, and we're going to win right away.
It would be unbelievable. And, of course, that'll be again at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. Mark Smith will make his decision. Well, Chris Raby from KMOX down in St. Louis, we asked him about Mark Smith, and he made it sound like a lot of the people down there think that he is going to choose Illinois. But, again, he doesn't know anything more than you and I do, so we'll see. Wait and see on that. But we talked to Chris about the St. Louis Blues. The Blues get it done against the Minnesota Wild. They win this weekend to advance to the second round. Well, they will face the Nashville Predators. Of course, the Preds sweeping the Blackhawks. How strange was that in the first round? So Preds, Blues, this should be fun. Predators playing red-hot hockey right now. The Blues playing solid hockey. Jake Allen is absolutely red-hot. And I asked Chris Karp, and I know you don't watch a lot of hockey, but the Blues have defenseman Alex Pietrangelo, who I think is one of the top 3 defensemen in the game. Colton Parayko, who's in his second year and is a kid that is long. Jay Bouwmeester is long. I mean, they've got all these defensemen that are tall and they have huge stick reach. And I think not only that, they play physical. And I think it had an effect on Minnesota. So it'll be interesting. And Carp, the best news about this is the Blues have home ice advantage. So starting Wednesday down at Scott Trade Center, they'll welcome in the Nashville Predators. We'll see what happens. And like you said, it'd be funny if this was the year.
Yeah, why not?
Why not, right?
I mean, Nashville playing great hockey right now.
Yes.
And you don't just sweep the Blackhawks based on luck.
No.
They really took it to the Blackhawks in all 4 of those games. So that will be a tricky situation. Maybe you would, as you had mentioned earlier, wish the roles were reversed, where you could have the Blues be that away team, be the underdog, because they seem to thrive on that in the last series.
Totally agree. Hey, I didn't ask you about the Bulls. What do you think? That series tied 2-2?
Oh, it's over. They're going to lose. I mean, Rondo was the catalyst for everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Did that have a big effect in Game 4?
Oh, yeah, huge.
Yeah, huge.
And I think it also just indicates what a mess that franchise is.
Right.
That you actually allowed yourself, and how could you not, after the first 2 games, to get a little bit excited. You were watching pretty good basketball, seeing these younger pieces, even like a Zipser, Paul Zipser, doing some good things out there in the basketball court. But, we're seeing with Cleveland how they just demolished the Pacers after being down 25 points in Game 3.
That's crazy.
It doesn't matter.
Nope.
Just as quickly as we wrote off, but we're skeptical about Cleveland. No.
Nope.
We know
agree.
what the finals are going to be. Let's just get there. Come on, let's go.
Totally agree. All right, that is Drive Time.
Presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For a wide selection of new and used vehicles, head to their dealership at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or you can check them out online at drivechampagne.com.
All right, we've got your text coming up. We're going to talk about that. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, asking you, Illini fans, how confident are you that Mark Smith at 6 o'clock Wednesday is going to say yes to the orange and blue? We'll also replay an interview we did with Derek Piper earlier today. He had some really good stuff, not only about Mark Smith, but about some other recruits in 18 and 19. We'll do that all coming up next. Well, if you're within 10 years of retirement, thinking and planning for your golden years can seem daunting, even overwhelming. And if you're wondering where to begin, Busey Investment Services and Busey Wealth Management is here to help you focus with some tips. How about reassess your living expenses? When you budget for retirement, think about how living expenses could and should change. And consider all income sources. Estimate how much you and your spouse, the retirement plans, your Social Security, other forms of income can provide monthly. Of course, manage your taxes, pay off debt, power up savings, all of that Busey can help you with as you prepare for retirement. There's just a few factors to consider. Make the process easier by breaking it into smaller categories. Use the years ahead to plan accordingly. The financial advisors at Busey Investment Services and Busey Wealth Management will take the time to understand you and create a sound investment plan for your goals. Call 1-800-67-BUSEY, or you can visit Busey today at Busey.com.
secretary's face with a bold and elegant spring floral design from the Blossom Basket Florist. Administrative Professionals Week is April 24th through April 28th. Make sure your assistant knows how much you appreciate her loyalty and hard work. Flowers always brighten everyone's day and are always affordable. From simple to simply magnificent, the Blossom Basket Florist with 2 locations to better serve you at 1002 North Cunningham Avenue in Urbana and at the Village at the Crossing at the corner of Windsor and Duncan Roads in Champaign, or visit them online at blossombasket.com. The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
Hi, it's Belinda from Fancy Thrift and Resale Emporium in Villa Grove. And as an entrepreneur, one of my passions is helping other small businesses to succeed. That's why I'm inviting you to our Spring Fanciful Philo Fun Festival and Small Business event on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Frank Center in Philo. A fun family event where businesses, entertainers, and vendors will showcase what they offer, from chair massages to delectable treats and mini workouts and more. This is a great way to get more information about locally owned businesses, as over 20 small businesses and vendors will be on hand. So mark your calendar now for our Spring Fanciful Philo Fun Festival and Small Business event on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Frank Center in Philo. Get more details on Facebook. Just search Fancy Thrift and click on events. Again, go to Facebook and search Fancy Thrift.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. From Charlotte, here's Dari Noka.
The NBA's typically boring first round has actually gotten very good. The Celtics and Jazz, Raptors and Grizzlies all tied up their respective series. Suddenly the Hawks and Wizards got closer, and then there are the Cavs and Warriors. One's already into the next round. Golden State will get there tonight. Now, last week I told you over and over that the East is wide open, and despite Cleveland already running past the Pacers, I still firmly believe it is. Despite playing virtually no defense for games at a time and digging themselves big holes, there are weaknesses with Cleveland. Weaknesses I would personally like to see Milwaukee get a shot at exploiting. This Bucks team is becoming a favorite of mine. Buried in a small media market with zero recent history of success, the Bucks generally an NBA afterthought. But spend some time watching them tonight in Toronto, and if you haven't seen them yet, you will see the impossible to defend Giannis Antetokounmpo and his fellow long, lean, athletic teammates. He is a future MVP. They are a future force in the East, so long as they can stay together. Here's to hoping they first get past Toronto. In 60 seconds, I'm not defending Russ.
This is Bill's yard, and Bill's a grill master, not a grass expert. Still, he won't let weeds invade his backyard barbecue kingdom. And with Scott's Turf Builder Weed and Feed, Bill's greasy thumb is just as good as a green thumb. Because Scott's Weed Grip formula is twice as effective on dandelions as it used to be. So Bill can clear out weeds, green up his lawn, and hold his spatula high. This is a Scott's yard. Pick up Scott's Weed and Feed today.
The clock is ticking down. It's all on the line for the relentless pursuit of perfection. Tissot Swiss Watches delivers the precision and accuracy expected in your timepiece. This is playoff time. This is winning time. This is your time. Tissot, official watch of the NBA playoffs. Now available at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, and Jared.com.
The question was fair, and Russell Westbrook was out of line. Yesterday, after the Thunder blew Game 4 against the Rockets, and Oklahoma City proved again that it cannot sustain any sort of lead when Westbrook dares rest, Steven Adams was asked about it. Barry Trammell of the Oklahoman asked a perfectly fair, legitimate question, but Steven didn't answer it. Russ did. told Barry, quote, "Don't try to split us up. Don't try to make us go against each other or make it Russell and the rest of the guys." Next question. Barry wanted an answer. He never got it, but good for him for trying. The media isn't making up the fact that when Russ is on the floor, OKC is very good, and when he isn't, they're bad. Fair question, unfair response. Very unfair, if you ask me. Still love you, though, Russ. You're the MVP. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Dari Noka.
Check out the new BMW Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Carp, we're going to trump Austin.
Now, I don't want to do this necessarily. Austin, did you see a tweet from Jeff Goodman within the last 30 minutes? The real Jeff Goodman?
No.
Okay.
There is somewhat breaking news here. It's a private institution, so we don't know the details.
Chris Collins.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. Chris Collins got an extension, and so did Pat Fitzgerald.
Okay.
So Jim Phillips is going to work.
He's going to work, baby.
Got to deal with those two guys for a while
longer.
longer.
Truth, man, and they're both.
They're going to be there
right.
forever, aren't they? They're just going to be a thorn in the side for the next 30
unless
years.
the NBA calls for Collins.
Pat Fitzgerald will be the guy Illinois never had. The former player that came back, made right, did right, and we sit here and think, is there anybody that would do that?
Nathan Shieldhouse,
yeah,
heir apparent to Lovie Smith.
Down the road. Down the road.
Maybe not.
All right, Austin Berkland, it's your turn.
Hello, I'm Austin Berkland with your 530 Sports Center update brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Email MyPV discount for a free quote and you get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. You heard the Northwestern news just a few seconds ago. Let's start out with some Illini news. This time, the time is finally here. Illinois will find out if they landed a commitment from Mr. Basketball, Mark Smith, when he announces his college decision at 6 p.m. at Edwardsville High School. This news was broken by a frequent guest of the show, Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com. He recently just had visits with Michigan State, Illinois, and Ohio State. Keeping with Illini news, the softball team were rocking an 8-game win streak going into a weekend series against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. After winning the first 2 games 1-0 and 5-3 respectively, that 10-game win streak came to a crashing end, losing 14-0 on Sunday. Their next game is Friday against Wisconsin at Eichelberger Field. On to the baseball team. They dropped all 3 to the Purdue Boilermakers. They only scored 4 runs in the 3-game series. They traveled to Purdue to take on the Bradley Braves on Tuesday. We stay on the diamond, and all 3 teams had a weekend series. The Cubs won 2 out of the 3, with Jason Hayward hitting 2 homers and Anthony Rizzo hitting 3 of his own. They're still on the road as they take on the Martellus Pirates tonight in a 3-game series. It's Anderson versus Cole. Hear the game on US 105.9 at 6:05. The Cardinals had a 4-game series against the Brew Crew. They won 3 out of the 4. Mike Leake was great. He had 3 hits, 3 walks, and 2 runs given up. His current ERA is 1.32 in 27 innings this season. The Sox went 1-3 against the defending AL champs Cleveland Indians this past weekend. They play the Royals tonight at 7:10 on CSN Chicago. The Bulls have lost 2 games in a row against the Celtics. Well, they're tied 2-2 right now. The Saints and Adrian Peterson, they're negotiating a contract right now. That's according to ESPN's Field Yates.
Austin, I've got more breaking news, and it's not good. Lucas Tay just lost his first singles match of his tennis career. Man. He was cruising along at 7-0. Steve Breitweiser's in with us, by the way.
What happened?
Well, he went over to Decatur, and some kid from over there beat him. Those stinking Decatur kids.
You got the juice over there in Decatur, right? You can't pull any strings.
Yeah, Lucas, it was 7-0 in his varsity career, and then
I was just over there. You could have told I could have popped in.
You know what? You could have gone in there.
Support.
Oh, I didn't even think about it.
I didn't know.
I don't know. Now the question is, do I let him eat tonight?
Bread and water.
I think that's only fair. I think the kid has to learn a lesson that if you're going to compete and you're a Tay and fail.
If you fail, then you don't eat. I mean, it's amazing, these kids and their entitlement, thinking their parents should actually give them shelter and food.
I don't know if I were the coach, I don't know that I would just be like, Lucas, it's about a 50-minute drive. So I guess figure out how you're getting home.
Did the heat play a factor today? I mean, it really warmed up.
It was warm.
No.
In his defense.
You know how those tennis courts get? It gets to be like 110.
And you see the heat rising on it.
I remember going over there and shooting some tennis events, like the USTA Challengers, and then one guy started, going south, starts blaming me, starts yelling at the chair umpire, saying, I was doing great until the camera showed up. I was doing great until TV got here. The chair umpire tells him to shut up.
Like it's his fault.
You're not playing bad because people are watching you now, dude. But, I mean, that's how those tennis guys get.
It's like we're not
Don't tell
live.
me he's going to turn into that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I mean, I haven't heard about the mental breakdown or anything like that. I
smash your racket.
Right. I mean, the hard part is he's got to readjust now and play a doubles match. So, I mean, you got to suck it up and just do it. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this will not be a fun night for Lucas Day when he gets home. I mean, it's going to be, I don't know, bread, water, and bed.
I like your old school approach to parenting.
Absolutely. You cannot lose, kids. I don't care what level, what age. Do not lose.
We did find out actually during the break.
I hope everybody knows we are kidding.
I'm not
kidding. You lost.
I'm not great at transitioning out of potential child abuse, but Francesco, how do you say his last name? We actually have it figured out.
It's an official
Francesco
Badecki. Now that's from a Kansas City broadcast.
Okay.
Like I think that used to be Metro Sports, and now they're under some kind of name, but it was a broadcast. Bishop Miege.
Okay.
Miege. Okay. And he is a pogo stick.
Everything around him is
that dude's
difficult
a pogo
to see.
stick.
Yeah. Did you said you watched
more
highlights.
dunks? You want more dunks?
I do it, huh?
Francesco delivered more dunks.
Who does he remind you of?
I mean, the easy one is Brian Randall.
Okay.
I mean, I absolutely would say Brian Randall. And
kind
I
of
think
slender.
It's the left hand, and he can go up high, and not only that, but good defensive timing.
Okay.
So he can block some shots.
Well,
you're gonna need some guys like that.
Let me throw out something that Illinois really hasn't had, and I know they didn't have it last year necessarily, was just athleticism. Right? I mean, I know these kids are athletic. You don't play college basketball in the Big Ten at Illinois if you're not athletic.
I don't know. We've had our share of unathletic guys on this team.
Certainly, this team, when you looked at it, we talk about the dunks. I know a dunk is a dunk.
You know when it all changed this year?
But
one factor. Tijon Lucas.
Yeah.
And now imagine having a roster full of guys that are ball handlers, that have vision, that can create their own shots. And because they can create their own shots to get to the rim, then that kind of softens up the guys in the interior.
Yes.
And then before you know it, even if we don't have an actual center next year, I'm excited. Finke's going to be able to get some.
Sure.
LaRon Black. But the one I want to see the most get dunks, and many of them, is Mark Smith.
Mark Smith.
In transition, off the dribble. Oh, man. Like, this is...
Well, let me set the scene. We've got Steve Breitweiser in because you guys are doing your final show tonight, the 200 level. It will air tonight live, right?
Live, yeah. No Cardinals interruptions.
That's right. So final show live. Steve, I said if Mark Smith says yes Wednesday and Francisco Badecki and somebody else comes aboard by next Monday, I think you guys need to do another one. It's like the encore.
I've already stated I think we need an off-season spectacular where we just sit down and air the grievances for 2 to 3 hours,
I love it.
Stream of consciousness, train of thought. We're not stopping it. When we run out of gas, that's when the show's over. We're done with this.
Yep.
We're done with this recording. But
I totally agree.
I just keep thinking to me with Mark Smith as saying, okay, 6 o'clock Central on Wednesday. I mean, if he was going to announce, thinking maybe the Tay and J Show, I mean, could have done it right.
I mean, why
not?
For,
Cusimano.
Yeah, well, who's
come
that?
Cusimano gets this thing.
I mean, come on.
I mean, he could have just,
When do we get big enough?
That's right.
When do we get big enough as the Tay and J Show?
Here's what we do. Here's what we do. Tim Finke.
Yes.
Call Jeff.
Needs to make his announcement.
Call Jeff.
right here.
We're friendly with
exactly
Jeff.
Right.
Yeah.
Good family. We know them a little bit.
I agree.
That's where we pull the strings and we get the exclusive.
If the TVs want to simulcast, there's plenty of room over here.
Absolutely.
They can and they can run their cabling through.
Do their live shot right outside.
Do it out. Put them in the grass.
Exactly.
Outside the building.
I mean, Steve and I are well versed at all that stuff.
It's decided, and we'll just pass that information along.
So if you know the Finkies and you're with them right now, just let them know.
We want the exclusive. We would like that if at all possible.
And if it doesn't, I'll never talk to the Finkies again in the rest of my life.
You know what is
I'm kidding.
You know what is exciting, though, is that if you do get a Mark Smith, I mean, that's first and foremost. And to me, what that would mean, at least short term, is you were not waiting quite as long to turn that corner. You can go into next year with some genuine optimism and still recognize that as a roster, you still don't have a center. Maybe you get one, but listen, I'll take the team without a center with 5 capable to very good guards.
Illinois fans remember a few teams like that did really well.
Yeah.
Break down the roster, you guys. If let's say Mark Smith says yes Wednesday.
He starts at the 3, but he basically would be able to play anything. I think you probably have a starting lineup with the 3 guards. 3-guard lineup would be Mark Smith, Jalen Coleman-Lands, and Tijon Lucas. But a Trent Frazier is going to get probably upwards of 20 minutes a game. I think that rotation and the style you play, you won't be asking many guys to play over 30 if you can help it.
Kind
just
of
4
guards four guys, in other words, for 3 spots is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Rotate them in and out.
I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and I know you guys have on the show, but it's the 4 out, 1 in concept. I mean, really, in terms of the guard play and the wings, it's sort of irrelevant.
It really is.
From the standpoint, I mean, obviously you want to have some diversity. You don't want to have guys who are all 5'9", 5'10" across the board. I mean, you need to defend.
Sure.
That's still the concern, and I think they're trying to address that with some of the offers they've put out. But in terms of, you're going to get the best guards out on the court, and you're going to play them, and you're going to rotate them in and out. And so I've talked with Carp. I think you play him, to me, at the 3 because he's 6'5".
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to guard guys in that slot a little bit better. Tijon, to me, unless proven otherwise, is your point.
I agree.
And you leave JCL where he is, and you quit screwing with him like the previous staff did, and you just heat him up and get him on a burner for as much of the season as you can.
I like that.
Now, we're going to figure out the rest of what they're going to do with the 4 and the 5, I think, as the rest of these scholarships get detailed out. But if they can go add some athletic wing play, like you've seen, and they need guys who have a defensive bent.
I agree with you.
Who need to provide something other than scoring, because I think you're going to be okay as far as that's concerned from the perimeter. I mean, you might have to find a little bit down low every once in a while, but keep in mind, that's not the offense necessarily. He's running, so I think Finke, with what he can provide, his passing from the elbow, his ability to make shots from there, it's going to fit him very well. So I'm not worried about that at all, but you're going to need some guys who can shake things up and who can defend when it gets right down to it in crunch time.
And, of course, you'd have Kipper Nichols. So down underneath, you'd essentially have Michael Finke, LaRon Black, Kipper Nichols. I get excited. You said it there, and we've talked about this with Michael Finke in this. I mean, he's almost the perfect person for this Underwood offense. However, I think guys like LaRon Black and Kipper Nichols can really benefit from this as well. And Underwood loves to crash the boards, especially offensively. And you look at a couple of guys like LaRon and Kipper. I mean, they've got the ability to do that.
You're right. And Kipper, don't undersell that, because really you go back to the second half of last season.
He looked pretty good.
It was Tijon's emergence, especially in the defensive end, being a pest.
No doubt.
And his energy, and also Kipper, they were both going after it very hard.
Without a doubt.
And that kind of started to transform, the group out there, because prior to that, you weren't seeing it.
I agree.
So,
100%.
And we know Kipper, obviously was brought in at a certain point in the season.
Yep.
As the mid-year transfer. So with Tijon, I will never understand for the life of me.
What took so long?
Yeah, exactly.
What took so long?
You can go back and we'll talk about that 20 years from now.
It's crazy. Well, listen, Steve, thanks for coming in and jumping on with us real quick. I know you guys are doing live at 6 o'clock between 6 and 7, the 200 level. Final show. So I'm excited about this. I'm going to skedaddle, get out of here and watch some 9 and 10-year-old baseball. It's the best.
And plan Lucas's punishment.
Yeah, well, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, my mom will be there. Gene will be there. I mean, we will collectively figure out how to punish a 17-year-old kid for losing.
I'm firmly in the bread and water camp.
Okay.
I think that fits the crime.
Okay. Nothing violent.
No, just starvation.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just has to really understand the embarrassment of being 7-1 now in tennis.
He'll thank you for it when he's older.
I agree.
And then he'll do the same thing to his young ones when they lose in their sports.
Somebody's going to send Stevie an email and say, I really do not care for the way Mike and Lon were ripping on Lon's son. We are all kidding, believe me. We're going to replay the interview we did with Derek Piper earlier today. We'll do that to close the show out. Then you guys will take over the 200 level. Lot to do still. Stick around. It is the Tay and J Show.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda. Let's go! Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Your four-legged friends need protection too. Pet insurance from Pekin Insurance covers cats and dogs at least 6 weeks of age or older as an enhancement to your homeowner's coverage. Choose between $2,500 or $5,000 worth of coverage for a variety of pet health services. You can even take your pet to the veterinarian of your choice. Learn more at PekinInsurance.com or ask your local agent about how to protect your furry family members. For pet insurance that is beyond the expected, contact Pekin Insurance today.
Your business is growing, which means now you need to hire more people.
Oh, the searching.
The emails.
Where do we start?
ZipRecruiter. Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, ZipRecruiter makes hiring simple. One click and your job is posted to over 100 job sites. Use ZipRecruiter's dashboard to easily screen and evaluate candidates and find the right hire fast. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. Now try ZipRecruiter free. Just click the banner now or go to ZipRecruiter.com/easyhire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/easyhire.
Not available in all states.
Hey, you two. What brings you to the mall?
We're just here checking on our robot.
Your robot?
Yeah, our recent Irvy's Froyo robot. Diane and I became franchisees last month.
It serves premier frozen yogurt creations to customers in 60 seconds.
Yep, our customers absolutely love it. That's it over there.
Whoa, that's incredible. People really do love your Froyo robot. So, you own this?
Sure do. Reese and Irvy's Froyo robots are available across the country, and it's super easy. Reese and Irvy's provided us with everything we needed. They even help you secure amazing locations. Movie theaters, grocery stores, college campuses, theme parks. They make any location a sensation.
And everyone loves frozen yogurt. That's incredible. How do I get a Froyo robot of my own?
You just go to FroyoFranchising.com and enter promo code 4747. But hurry, because locations and robots are going fast.
Froyo.
Yeah, FroyoFranchising.com. Promo code 4747.
Reese and Irvy's is a subsidiary of Generation Next Franchise Brands, a public company, VEND.
Spring has sprung, and for 25 years, Prairie View Landscaping has been the premier locally owned and operated lawn care provider in Central Illinois. Prairie View Landscaping is a full-service company, a one-stop shop for all your lawn care and outdoor needs. So email Lindy at Prairie View Landscaping today at mypvdiscount@gmail.com. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Prairie View Landscaping, celebrating 25 years in business. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
Our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month is Brian Malik from the Champaign County Sheriff's Department. You always have to be keyed up. Do you have to go into a situation knowing anything can happen here and I got to be really on it?
It's always got to be in the back of your mind, but you also have to learn to go into a situation and be even-keeled and not expect the worst to happen. But it's always in the back of your mind that something could happen. But if you go in there at 100, obviously some people don't really appreciate that, and that's understandable.
Well, you can just tell by your demeanor, you really want to help folks kind of figure this out. And as one of your other deputies told me, it's they're not having their best day.
Yeah, most people, when they call for the sheriff's office, most of the time they're having a very bad day. And you show up and you try to do your best to make their day a little better. Doesn't always work, but you're doing your best to make it happen.
Brought to you by SK Exteriors. Their website, callsktoday.com.
Hi, it's Belinda from Fancy Thrift and Resale Emporium in Villa Grove. And as an entrepreneur, one of my passions is helping other small businesses to succeed. That's why I'm inviting you to our Spring Fanciful Philo Fun Festival and Small Business event on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Frank Center in Philo. A fun family event where businesses, entertainers, and vendors will showcase what they offer, from chair massages to delectable treats and mini workouts and more. This is a great way to get more information about locally owned businesses, as over 20 small businesses and vendors will be on hand. So mark your calendar now for our Spring Fanciful Philo Fun Festival and Small Business event on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Frank Center in Philo. Get more details on Facebook. Just search Fancy Thrift and click on events. Again, go to Facebook and search Fancy Thrift.
It's the final days of Mattress Firm's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's your last chance to save up to 70% off Tempur-Pedic and Sealy. Plus, take up to $2,000 off floor models from Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, Hampton & Rhodes, and others. We're liquidating every Tempur-Pedic and Sealy in stock to make room for the next generation of innovative sleep products. Only at your local Mattress Firm while supplies last. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offer and prices may vary in Hawaii.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call Matex Heating and Cooling to take advantage of Train's Weather Any Season sale. Choose between special financing for 6 years or special trade-in allowances on qualifying Train systems. Call 355-9700 or visit us online at mattexservice.com for more information. It's hard to stop a train. Any season, any weather. Matex Heating and Cooling, servicing East Central Illinois.
Subject to credit approval. Call for details.
Money Smart Week is back April 22nd through the 29th. It's an entire week of classes, workshops, training programs, and seminars to address money management at every stage of life. Some events include Investing 101 with Habitat for Humanity, 5 Seconds to Saving for Your Children's College Education, and Shred-a-Palooza, an event that gives you the ability to shred sensitive paperwork that will wrap up the week of Saturday, April 29th at the U of I Credit Union. Visit MoneySmartWeek.org for a list of events surrounding Money Smart Week, or search Money Smart Week Champaign County on Facebook.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante and Jeremy Warner. The 200 level is coming up at 6 o'clock, so don't go anywhere. And for those that may have missed the first hour of the show, we're going to replay our interview with Derek Piper from 3:30 right now.
Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, Mark Smith is going to make an announcement of where he is attending college. Where's it going to be? Derek, do you know?
Me?
Yeah! I thought maybe you had something
on. Kind of stuff, man. I don't know. I just follow it.
What do you think, though? This thing's finally going to come to an end Wednesday night at 6. I mean, Illinois, I feel like this entire time has had a legitimate chance of landing Mark Smith, and I still feel that right now.
Yeah, you should. He's kept them along, obviously through even some tough times where you thought that maybe Illinois was going to slip out of the mix. They make a coaching change. Jeremiah Tillman jumped ship. He had reasons then when Michigan State and Kentucky were coming around. Even Duke decided to come in with John Shire last week for an in-home. There's been some big-time competition, and we know how hard it's been for Illinois to land at Mr. Basketball. Tom Izzo and Michigan State wants him really, really bad. Kentucky's just kind of been there. I know that Dad likes that kind of NBA style, but I don't think there's really a great fit there. So he went to Ohio State over the weekend for his last official visit. I know paying some respect to them because Dad Mata, funny as it is really the only coach in this mix that you got to see him play in a high school game.
Wow.
And I know that they liked that, D'Angelo Russell had been a point guard that was developed and went to the NBA and whatnot, but Illinois did a fantastic job on their unofficial visit last Thursday. Got them on campus. That was huge for them to, get to know even further the new coaches. Jamal Walker's done a great job, and it just feels like that's what he keeps drawing back to. That's home for him. He feels comfortable with them, and I think that, they're definitely a favorite going into a decision.
Should we read into the timing of this announcement or even the proximity and the TV station it's going to be on? I mean, it's Frank Cusimano's station, KSDK, that's going to be live broadcasting this event down in Edwardsville, and I'm thinking, well, how many Michigan State fans are in that area. It probably bodes well for Illinois, or I don't know. Am I just trying to find tea leaves where there are not tea leaves, Derek?
I think you're onto something there. I know that they talked with Frank about being able to broadcast this, and obviously in the St. Louis area, which is a big deal down there, regardless of where he's going to go. I know with Frank knowing that he's got ties to Mizzou, maybe some people are going to be nervous that Jeremiah Tillman's going to show up and they're going to put on some Mizzou stuff. Sorry, guys, I'm messing around, but Mark is ready to make this decision, make this announcement. I know that his dad had maybe even thought about, well, why don't you go one more and go out to Duke and we'll experience that. But Mark said, no, I'm ready. I'm done. I know where I want to go. Now's the time. It's been hectic for him. It's been a very pressure-packed decision. Obviously, he's earned the right to have a lot of good options, and he does. So, but he feels good about where he's at right now, and now it's time to kind of enjoy the party, enjoy the process, and announce to everybody, and then celebrate this awesome decision for him.
Derek Piper, another reason we're having you on today, that Illinois, Brad Underwood reached out to a couple of recruits up in Chicago. We'll get to that. It's funny that all of this talk about Mark Smith this entire time, it seems like when this first started, we broke down Mark Smith as a player and what he means to a team and what he would bring to Illinois. And then everything after that is just, oh boy, he's meeting with Michigan State. Illinois still got a shot. Break down again for our listeners kind of what Mark Smith is. Height, weight. I mean, he's a big guard that can shoot. I think he needs to get a little bit better from the outside. He's not Tay-like yet, but he can get to the rim. I'm glad you noticed that. He can get to the rim. Defensively, how is he? Break down his game a little bit just as a reminder as to kind of what Illinois is hoping to get on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's a future pro, I think. I think he's the complete package in terms of his versatility, his athleticism. 6'5". I don't know exact weight, maybe 215. I know that he's probably in the gym more than me, and I'm quite a bit older than him, so he's stronger than me. He can take it off the dribble. He can shoot from the outside. 24 points per game, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds as a senior. I'd say that's a pretty good senior year. He can do it all. Offensively, great vision, great IQ for the game, and very, very good at drawing contacts, finishing through contacts, and then he's got that bounce to be able to go up above the rim and throw it down. I know that us around here in Champaign, we love dunks. We'd like to see more dunks. So anybody that can bring that'd be great. I think he has a lot of potential on the defensive end. I know he'd even tell you that he's not where he wants to be. But athletically and ability to move around and then to be strong, I think that he has a lot of upside in terms of guarding the ball as he's developed in that area. So really a great fit in an up-tempo system with, Underwood wants to put shooters around the ball, which is perfect for Mark, who's going to take it off the dribble and be able to open things up on the outside. And if you're able to mix him in with Trent Frazier, that's a big-time upside in terms of a duo of guards.
There's some intangible qualities to Mark Smith's game, Derek, and not even just his game, but his personality, I think, where Illinois is at, the spot that they're in as a basketball program right now. They need a Pied Piper. They need a no pun intended, of course. They need a transformational figure of some kind.
I got that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
It was pretty bad. But and it seems to me that potentially that kind of personality, Mark Smith may actually possess that personality that wouldn't shy away from that kind of challenge, wouldn't mind having to shoulder the load as much as, not just on the court, but really being the face of the basketball program. Is that a fair description of his personality and things that he is not necessarily one to shy away from?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. He's a leader, really relishes the opportunity, and now, on the biggest stage here as a senior when he was in battles with Jordan Goodwin and Jeremiah Tillman, even kind of can embrace that, underdog role and know, this is my team and this is my state, and I'm ready to do some things. So he wants to be the guy, and that's kind of the big sell for Illinois against some of these other programs is we're going to make you the guy right away. There's going to be no argument about whose team this is, even when you walk in as a freshman. So at Michigan State, you can go along for the ride and come off the bench for their Final Four team, or you can make this your own Final Four team. I think that's a guy that he wants that. He's not afraid of it, and he really wants to lead that and be the man. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to make things happen, and he wants to be the guy that started it all and get going again. So I think that he has those qualities, and obviously it's a great thing for Illinois that he does.
How does the coaching staff feel? I mean, no coaching staff, I think, would ever feel 100% secure, especially just the nature of recruiting and how fickle it can be. But 48 hours to go. They had the pitch out there. Is this a situation where they try to contact him one more time, or are they just going to kind of sit back and feel good about where they're at?
I think they're probably just going to sit back, maybe check in on how he's doing, what are you having for dinner tonight, or, just how are things going, what you watching on TV. Outside of that, they're probably just going to sit back. They've done all that they can do. They've laid it all out there. Like, they feel very, very good about their cell, about how they've been able to hang on during some tough times, and just what they put on the table for Mark, and knowing his personality, as you mentioned, what he wants and what they've been able to put out there. So I think they kind of just sit back and wait on it, feel good about it, and just wait for Wednesday to come.
Follow Derek on Twitter at DPiperScout. If you're not, you're crazy. I mean, that's where it's all at. It feels like, Derek, that Illinois has done a great job with this. And I think even the previous staff needs a lot of credit. John Gross and that staff, Jamal Walker, of course, they did a great job of getting in the mix for Mark Smith, watching him. If Mark Smith chooses Illinois Wednesday night, what is the biggest reason? Why is it one of the biggest? What would be some of the biggest reasons why he decides to wear orange and blue?
Yeah, I think it goes right back to knowing, his ability. He's a ready-made college guard who can come in, and physically he's built enough. He has the skills right now to be an impact guy right away. So when you're looking at these different options, and obviously you want to play at a certain level, the Big Ten being that, a big stage, with Illinois against an option like Michigan State, I think that their biggest thing is we can give you the ball right away. We can put you in the starting lineup right away. We can build our offense, build our resurgence around you. And so this really makes it your team. I think, additionally, staying close to home. He's a guy that's very, very close to his parents, giving them an opportunity to see as many games as possible, very close with mom and dad. So I think that helps them out. And then, he grew up watching Illinois. I think that helps them. And he knows about, Darren Williams and D. Brown and what those guys meant around this state, and what that program will be like when they're like that again, assuming that they will get back there. I think that he wants to embrace that, and if he does choose them, those will be the reasons why.
Well done.
Yeah, let's just hope it gets done.
I agree.
I think this.
Well, it's going to get done. We just don't know if Illinois is the team.
Well, for the good result for Illinois fans and the program, which has had a lot of some bad luck along the way.
I agree.
Some other action this weekend, though, Derek. 2018, Taylor Horton Tucker out of Chicago Simeon. That old pipeline opening back up, hopefully for Illinois, and he's a 6'4", 200-pound shooting guard, small forward kind of guy. Talk a little bit about his game and what Underwood specifically sees in it.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I've been pushing for him for a while in that 2018 class up at Simeon. He's very smooth, like you said, 6'4", 6'5", kind of a big body. He's got some big body to him. And some people would look at that and think that he, can't move around very well or can't get up. It's actually just the opposite. He's deceptively quick, deceptively athletic. I was watching him 2 weekends ago playing with Io, and Io threw a lob up there. He caught it with one hand and threw it down. So I was pretty impressed. He can do a lot of different things. He's got a good outside stroke. And really it's been Chen Coleman who really saw him a lot. He offered him, I think he was the first guy to offer him at UIC. So when he came on as staff, he's like, we gotta get him. We gotta get him involved now. And Taylor's always wanted that Illinois offer. He got some attention maybe from Paris Parham, and John Gross watched him a little bit. Didn't like him enough to offer. But it didn't take very long for this staff to decide, we want you and we want you bad. So he's a very, very talented player. I like him a lot. I think he's a top 100 guy as soon as people give him the respect that he deserves.
And that was Derek Piper, who joined us in the 3 o'clock hour to talk mostly about Mark Smith, but of course ended the conversation there with Taylor Horton Tucker. So Lon will be back tomorrow. It will be a regular show. Of course, Wednesday, 6 o'clock is the big announcement for Mark Smith, and we will have an extended Tay and J show, and I will certainly be around, and we'll see maybe if Steve Breitweiser or someone else can't join us for a short reaction show after Mark Smith announces his college decision. But if you're an Illinois fan, I think there's reason for optimism. So first, we need to thank Derek Piper at 3:30 and Chris Raby at 4:30 for joining the show today. But stick around. Coming up here at 6 o'clock, we have the final episode of the 200 level, at least until football season.
the 16th episode for this basketball stretch that has been the most eventful that I can remember in my lifetime. So we're going to recap everything that's happened since the 200 level took the airwaves and talk a lot of Mark Smith, because why not? Wednesday, 6 o'clock, that's the big one. Until then, though, we're going to take a quick break and come back with the final episode of the 200 level. It is the Tay and J Show.
When your car breaks down, you realize just how much you need it. And when it breaks down, Beaumont Alignment Plus steps up. For routine maintenance like brakes, oil changes, tune-ups, batteries, and tires, you can count on Beaumont Alignment Plus. Bigger issues including alignment, suspension work, starters, alternators, transmission requires specialists. So get to know Beaumont Alignment Plus for your vehicle repairs. With locations on Bloomington Road and Denison Drive in Champaign, you're never far from the help you need. It's good to know the quality service is still affordable at Beaumont Alignment Plus.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Not available in all states.
Hey, you two. What brings you to the mall?
We're just here checking on our robot.
Your robot?
Yeah, our recent Irvy's Froyo robot. Diane and I became franchisees last month.
It serves premier frozen yogurt creations to customers in 60 seconds.
Yep, our customers absolutely love it. That's it over there.
Whoa, that's incredible. People really do love your Froyo robot. So, you own this?
Sure do. Reese and Irvy's Froyo robots are available across the country, and it's super easy. Reese and Irvy's provided us with everything we needed. They even help you secure amazing locations. Movie theaters, grocery stores, college campuses, theme parks. They make any location a sensation.
And everyone loves frozen yogurt.
That's incredible. How do I get a Froyo robot of my own?
You just go to froyofranchising.com and enter promo code 4747. But hurry, because locations and robots are going fast.
Froyo...
Yeah, froyofranchising.com. Promo code 4747.
Reese and Irvy's is a subsidiary of Generation Next Franchise Brands, a public company, VEND.
Get ready for the first annual Mahomet Craft Beer Festival presented by JT Walker's Brewery. Head out to Mahomet on Saturday, April 29th for great food and the best beer brewed in Central Illinois. Admission is free, so come out and enjoy live music at JT Walker's and the new Project 47 Smokehouse. Enjoy craft brews from local favorites like Revolution, Half Acre, JT Walker's, and more. For more info, head to jtwalkersbrewery.com or text the word brews to 66937. That's brews to the number 66937.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.